Alright. The video I've been waiting to react to for the longest time since I started this entire Let's Play, Mario and Luigi Brothership, was IGN right by Nathaniel Bandy. I've been watching this guy for years. I fell off high key, and apparently I got unsubscribed from him, but I think he said his channel got hacked, which is unfortunate, but I think he's back and better than ever now. But I used to watch this guy such a long time ago, and I stopped for some reason because he puts out Nintendo games and shit like that, but I like this guy. And he put out a video about Mario Luigi Brothership in the IGN review, and we're going to react to that right now because I have some words for this game as someone who literally 100%ed it. I did all the side quests you could do. I found all the sprite bulbs and got all the power plugs, and I did all the Monster Manias, and I beat all the tower bosses a second time. If that's 100%, then that's 100%, okay? So I can say whatever I want about this game because I'm verified in the subject of this game, okay? So here we go. We're going to react to this to my guy, Nathaniel Bandy. We're going to react to this video, and we're going to see what the hell IGN meant by giving this game a 5, because I almost agree with them, okay? So let's see what's going on here. Alright, here we go.
5 out of 10? Not my Mario and Luigi. There's no way this is a 5 out of 10.
That's exactly what I thought.
Is play through the entire game, and at the end of the video, we're going to actually read the review. Look at his points. Not my Mario. How many of these
Mom, sure still sound.
After 9 years, we finally have Mario and Luigi.
9 years.
This, I need to beat the main story.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did.
20 reefs.
That's what I did.
45 plugs.
That's what I did.
29 challenges. Well, it's not a bad game.
I didn't do all the challenges. I did a whole bunch of them though. The only ones I need to do is that fucking Great Conductor one. That was like okay, it's whatever. And then I think I need to do Woohoo Cannon more. But aside from that, I did all the other ones, including mix and match Vortex and Bomb Derby. I think I need to do that one too. I don't know if I did that one. I could check, but I'm pretty sure that one is gonna be somewhat easier to do with Auto Excellence. But I did most of those as well, and then I got to defeat 300 monsters ungeared. But I'm not really worried about that. That's all definitely like bonus content type stuff, which I could definitely do whenever I feel like it. But whatever. Looks like he did it all, so let's see what happens when he does it all, compared to me.
There's quite a few elements of Brothership that bring things down, so let's take a deep dive into why.
There's a lot that brings this game down.
Brothership gets off on a much better foot.
I did not play Paper Jam at all, so I don't know context between Paper Jam or Dream Team. Okay, I've told you guys on TikTok I played Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, and Bowser's Story. I skipped Paper Jam because I thought the concept was lame, and I skipped Dream Team because I also thought the concept was trash. So when this game was announced, I was like, okay, with a title like Brothership, you cannot possibly fuck this shit up. So I'm very curious of how Nintendo fucked this up and what the comments are going to say later when we're done with this video.
The game fully uses 3D models. It's got a really clean, cel-shaded art style.
I love the art style.
Animated.
Yes, it
and
is.
The characters are super expressive too.
Yes, they are.
It's just a fun game to look at.
Yes.
The first cutscene really sets the tone for what to expect, as this is one of the most dynamic and cinematic RPGs we've seen.
I agree.
Mario and Luigi are
the cutscenes are great in this
Luigi
game.
gets attacked by bees immediately. Their hands start glowing, and this spawns some crazy-looking pink vortex. They proceed to get sucked into it, and end up leaving the Mushroom Kingdom and going into another world entirely. This whole sequence just looks like the Mario movie where Mario and Luigi go to the light for the first time.
That's true.
Luigi gets himself separated from Mario for a brief period. I'm not sure if this was supposed to be a comparison, or I'm just noticing it, but for the sake of the game, it's a good starting point. We land on a mysterious island, and immediately I'm slightly annoyed with the movement. While it feels smooth and good, it's only in 8 directions instead of a full 360 degrees. I suppose the reason for this is to make some of the platforming a bit easier, but I'd almost argue that not having a wider range of tilting makes things more cumbersome. It's not that big of a deal,
I can see that. I didn't even think of that. Playing this game, like, I don't want to say the motions in the controls are super duper smooth, but I definitely didn't even think about the fact that it was only 8 directions, not fully 360. I didn't even think about that because, like, it's technically 8 directions is just perfectly enough. But yeah, it could have been like, you know, 360. I didn't even think about that at all. I played this entire game. I didn't even think about
The
that.
entire game is in 3D. After seeing a flying Groudon, we start to
flying
learn how the
Groudon? Is that what you think
works
that thing
and get
is?
into the first battle. If you play the
Flying
Mario
Groudon,
Luigi game
that's
in the
funny.
past, it's exactly what you'd expect. You can attack, use items, or flee. By timing your button press correctly, it makes your jump stronger, and you can also counter when an enemy tries to attack. It's honestly pretty basic, and I was really hoping that the combat would get more interesting once Luigi joined the team. Also, can we just point out how clean that jump animation is? Seriously, Brothership has clearly been well polished. The animation work is so stretchy and squishy. The animators did a fantastic job making the movement look fluid. Even the results screen looks nice.
Yes.
With Mario doing this crazy flip while gaining experience points. Heck, even Mario's eyebrows can be seen above his hat instead of being hidden underneath. This is one of those really common anime tropes that actually works well with how these models are portrayed. At this point, though, Mario's walking around the island and keeps seeing illusions of Luigi nearby. So after walking around a bunch, we eventually find an island that's shaped like a ship, and Mario makes a jump.
I didn't realize this was Great Conductor Island. Like, obviously in the beginning you don't, but then when you go there, that's Great Conductor Island. I had no idea, honestly. That's a very interesting kind of just like callback to the beginning of the game. I didn't even think about that because for some reason I thought it was ship shape at the beginning of the game already, and then I forgot that how the game actually started.
Die, but Luigi catches us and we're reunited. This island is called Ship Shape Island. Haha, very funny pun. Oh, and if you like puns, by the way, you're going to absolutely adore the writing. Personally, I thought the puns went a little overboard, but that's how most of the writing is. So after being saved,
the writing was very punny for sure. Some of them were good and some of them missed. The ones I liked were good, obviously, and the ones that missed weren't so good. I think this, in terms of other Mario and Luigi games, this game was not as funny as the first three. Like I said, like when you have to compare to literally, I'm sorry for glazing so hard the first three Mario and Luigi games, but when like those are literally all peak, you just compare them to the other ones. You do the same with any other fucking game franchise that's your favorite specifically. Okay, you're not gonna sit and tell me, oh, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 are all different for being good for being different. Like, no, you compare those shits, okay? Like, you're not comparing them for no reason. Same for Skyrim, okay? Like, you're not gonna be like, oh, well, Skyrim 1, 2, and 3 are okay, and 4 and 5 are different because they're different. It's like, no, they're the same franchise. Like, you're gonna compare them, okay? That's why people trash Dragon Age Veilguard too, because like this is not Dragon Age. Like, okay, I'm not saying this isn't Mario and Luigi, but like I said, it's not just the charm of the old games was kind of missing here, so I want to know what Nathaniel thinks about it as we go into it.
We get Mario's thumbs up, and while it's not as good as the 1,000-year door thumbs up, I'll take it. Meet up with one of the main characters, which is Connie. Now, Connie's design is super goofy. If you look closely at an open wall outlet right now, it somewhat resembles a face.
Yes.
That is literally the design of Connie's face.
That's all
as well as most of the characters
Connie's
in this
the goat.
game. There's a reason for that, which we'll get to later on, but man, only Nintendo would design a face structure from a wall outlet.
I agree. Look, I said I didn't care much for the Concordia people like that, aside from my very, very favorite characters and stuff. I thought the concept was very weird. And like I said, I knew we had the Bean Kingdom. I know we had other races and stuff, but the power plug people was crazy. Like, that was a crazy like concept to go with. Like, I was like, okay, you could have done anything except for the power plug face people. But hey, I'm not the game designer.
Shouldn't be that surprised though. This is the same company that made you fight a literal box of color pencils. Even the hair slash.
I had no idea about that, so
goddamn silly. So
I had no idea about Paper Jam, so I can't get my opinion on it.
Concordia has this tree that's used to link together a bunch of land with an energy source called Connector. While this is being explained to us, we meet another character called Snoutlet. This guy is basically the naughty character. They'll give us hints, and they also swear that they aren't a pig, which I guess is just the joke, because Snoutlet looks like a pig. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. Whatever you say. So now that we know what the goal is,
Nathaniel, if you crash out on Snoutlet for me, bro, I will literally do a backflip because I hate Snoutlet so fucking much. That character, like, there's annoying, and then there's Snoutlet. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. When you just, like, compared to Starlo, or even the briefcase character from Partners in Time, which I don't even remember his fucking name, and also just hasn't showed up in any other Mario and Luigi game as far as my knowledge. It's like, dude, they were annoying me like Snoutlet was. Snoutlet was just fucking annoying. Like, I'm sorry. I don't like Snoutlet at all. It wore out. He wore on me quickly. That's his issue. He wore on me quickly. And like, you know, talking animal companion characters, we all know them. We all love them. You know, some of them are good, some of them are not. But Snoutlet, that drained it fast. I was like, Jesus Christ, you're so annoying. Stop talking. It was bad. It was bad. Like, you could have wrote Snoutlet out of the story and had Connie follow us around the entire story, and I would have loved the game more. I would give this game a 7 instead of a 5. If Connie was purely following us everywhere and giving us her little world building tidbits and shit, I'd be like, okay, Connie, well, at least you're cute and I like you. Like, whatever. But Snoutlet is just fucking annoying. And the whole, I'm not a pig thing. That's so annoying. You were definitely, clearly a pig. Your name is Snoutlet. Like, you're a fucking pig, dude. Shut the hell up. It's so annoying.
For us to start connecting some islands back together. We get a good look at the map system, and it's pretty good for what it is. There's not much to say about the menu, but it's pretty clear where everything is, which is nice. I was excited to see that these things return, although I don't know how they function yet. And of course, we'll be able to equip gear and other accessories to enhance our stats, but we don't have anything for that yet. Now it was time to head towards the first island. I thought it was adorable that Connie was worried about us shooting out of this cannon, because trust me when I say this, Mario and Luigi have literally traveled through the emptiness of space, so yeah, a simple cannon shot I think will be just fine. Getting into the cannon, we actually have to scope out the island manually, which is a neat way to find new islands. We start by going to Lumwa Island, and I love how Luigi really struggled with the landing. As we land on more and more islands, Luigi starts to figure out how to land correctly the farther into the game you get, which is kind of a cool time. As for Rumble Island...
Yeah, I like that every island was different and that Luigi's landing on each island was good. For the most part, obviously, Luigi's the joke character and shit. And, man, I really feel like this game did more with Luigi. Like, they really try to, you know, do different things with Luigi in this game. I'm like, you guys just could have made Luigi a character instead of a walking key item, basically. And that was not my issue with the game, but it's like, for a game called Brothership, I mean, yeah, Luigi had held his own in some areas and shit, but I just really feel like this could have been more like showing the bonds of Mario and Luigi heavily instead of just like, obviously I'm controlling Mario and Luigi's running behind me, and then Luigi's just like, whenever he thinks to do something, it just happens instead of like, okay, character development, maybe? No? Okay, that's fine.
Well, it looks really nice. It's kind of like a desert with a bit of lush trees as well. This is also where you'll really start to notice Mario and Luigi's gibberish. The gibberish is a mainstay for Mario and Luigi titles, and to me is the most endearing part of the series. I just really enjoy listening to Mario and Luigi speak complete nonsense while talking to NPCs. It's just so funny sounding. And this is the first game where Kevin Afghani has a shot at this, and he absolutely nailed it. The gibberish is all brand new, and it's hard not to smile when Mario's all... There's even moments where the gibberish is louder and more high-pitched in tense situations, which was cracking me up because he's literally saying nothing. It's all about the tone, and it's everything I could have hoped for. Now that we have Luigi, the combat is honestly still pretty boring. It's also really bizarre that you don't push B during the menu when controlling Luigi. It actually took quite a while to get used to, since that's how it works with every other Mario and Luigi game.
Thank you, Nathaniel. This was my biggest gripe for like the longest time in the game. I would mess up so many action commands because, sorry, when you grew me for 20 years of Mario and Luigi games where Mario's A and Luigi's B, when suddenly Luigi isn't B 100% of the time, it's fucking confusing, okay? Even if it's only 98% of the time, it's fucking confusing, okay? So yeah, that was my big issue with this game as well. It was just a departure of the original kind of formula, and it was just like, dude, what are we doing? Did you guys forget how to make these types of games? Like, you guys heard me. I complain about that shit every time. Every time I personally messed up an action command, I'm like, this is horse shit. That's not my fault. This is Nintendo's fault. You know, so it was very crazy having to deal with that.
We're still doing the same jumps over and over without much variety beyond that. I guess the only interesting aspect is that the brothers' jumps now are forced to be done together. While there's a few rare moments where you can attack solo, you're otherwise always attacking as a team. This might seem like a cool idea, but it also makes battles take slightly longer than they should. That's a glaring issue with Brothership. This this game takes forever to pick up the pace and get to the point.
Yes.
It's not that big of a deal right now, but it'll become much more of a problem as we continue on.
Yes,
but
it will.
We get a look at Luigi's dance when he levels up, and it's pretty glorious. Look at how happy he is. We also find out what Luigi logic is. These are segments of the overworld of combat where Luigi basically pulls a Jimmy Neutron brain blast and comes up with a solution when we're stuck on something. The first one is silly. Luigi just forces himself to the gate so he can hit his block to open his path. After that, we're in a town and can buy items, gear, and talk to NPCs. The items are...
I really hope he talks more about this Luigi logic shit, because I guess this is the first time that appeared in this game. I thought that was like some Dream Team shit that I missed out on or whatever, where Luigi's like brain manipulates the fucking world and shit. I thought that's where it kind of got started in, but like I guess Luigi logic starts here. I don't hate Luigi logic. I just kind of it trivializes the story and the progression of the story by being like, oh, how do we fucking like he literally just now, how do we get through this gate? Luigi logic, let me think really hard. Oh, just squeeze through the gate. Like, oh, really? Not anything creative or like maybe a puzzle solve? Like, no, just fucking squeeze through the gate. That happens throughout the entire game. It's like, dude, like, are we being for real right now? Very, like, I did not like a lot of it. In the battle system for the bosses, that's one thing for sure, but when it came to like, you know, that happening every island or whenever necessary, it literally just felt like a Deus Ex Machina. You know, where it's just like fucking like, oh, how do we get out of this tough situation? I don't know, but here's a dragon to save you. It's like, where was the dragon written 100 chapters ago? No, there was no mention of a dragon. You're just gonna dragon and save us now? Okay. Like that's what it feels like. And I mean, it's not that to that extreme, but it's like, it's not what I said about Luigi not being a character. He's more like a key item that he just does shit. It's like, okay, but Luigi didn't think, like, he thought about it for sure, but like that wasn't something that we thought of creatively together. That was Luigi just thinking hard on his own and then just doing some horse shit, and then suddenly everything's okay. It's like, that's not really fun or interesting.
For everything you'd expect from the older Mario and Luigi games, you can get things like mushrooms, syrup jars, nuts, and the like. These little town areas are found on all the islands, so the general formula is that you fight enemies and go to a town somewhere in the middle of each island. You can also push L near blocks or veggies, and Luigi will help you pull them up for free points and items. It's a neat little mechanic that makes walking around less tedious. As we keep moving forward, fighting more enemies, I have to comment on the battle music. At first, I didn't really care for it that much. I just thought it was okay, but not particularly catchy like in Superstar Saga. But after a lot of time passed, it did start to grow on me, but it still just doesn't quite have that pop or zest like the earlier games do. After fighting some more
I can agree with that. I like the battle music in this game for the most part. Obviously, you guys heard me hum it as soon as each battle started. Where it goes, like, I actually like that a lot. Like, that was actually pretty cool. I actually like the battle music of this game. If he didn't like mind it that much, then, you know, he says it grows on him. But like, I liked it a lot. I like the battle music of this game, very much so. So I like I said, the gameplay for me was fine. I think he'll like it more when he gets into the battle plugs when he talks about them soon, because that really transforms the gameplay, the battle plugs for sure. So yeah, I mean, like, I like the battle music because the battle plugs made the game go by better for sure. I understand what he means right now when he's like how the early kind of like battle flow of the game is like, yeah, it's very boring and slow right now. It'll get better with the battle plugs, and you'll like the music more as you listen to it, I guess. Even though it is the same track the entire time. I think they would have done a good job if they really diversified the music in each level, because each world is a different theme. So they could have, like, you know, added something different to each battle music stage for the stages and shit. They could have done something for the battle music. That would have been really cool. You know, I don't know why more RPGs don't do that. Like, I mean, I'll play 300 hours of Dragon Quest XI and hear the same, you know, like, for the entire game, not complain about it, but then just be like, well, there was only like 3 battle songs. And it's like, yeah, because fucking, like, I don't know why RPGs just don't make more battle music. Why is Earthbound the only fucking game with multiple battle songs? Like, it's very weird.
End up saving Wilma after she threw out her back. So of course, to help her with this, Mario picks her up over his head, just like Marin with Link's Awakening. Because why not, right?
Yes,
we carry her back home, and she opens a gate so we can get to the lighthouse. This is the main objective for each island. We You need to reach the lighthouse so we can connect it with a tree on Ship-Shape Island. Hence why Connie and all the characters' faces look like wall outlets, because electricity. Again,
yes.
Only Nintendo would do something like this.
Right.
We also get some accessories and gloves from Wilma, and she tells us about her kids, Vilda and Make It. Because of course, every sentence in this game needs to be a pun. Build it, make it. So anyway,
respect Vilda and Make It. They're the goats. They're the goats. Respect them.
Candy, put these apple
Chill on my
rocks on these
Vilda and
tons of
Make
open
It.
gates, launch Luigi to space, and pick up the ski to reach the lighthouse. The way this works is so silly. You just unplug this outlet, and then you kind of ride it back to the tree so power comes back to the island. I don't know about you, but this seems extremely unintuitive. Even Call of Duty Zombies has a more streamlined way of turning on power, and that's saying something. But it's worth it in the end to see Mario and Luigi do this adorable little dance at the end. Just look at them. We made it back to Ship-Shape Island, and this is when I realized just how amazing the song is. It feels so adventurous and enticing. It has the same energy as the Great Sea from the Wind Waker.
I agree.
The Ship-Shape song is so good that it was stuck in my head for several days after playing the whole game.
Me
That's
too.
how you know it's a banger. So now
Yeah,
the
I agree. The music in this game was great. The music in this game was great, and it definitely keeps in my head as well. The battle music and the Ship-Shape Island music was definitely great, and that definitely kind of like is gonna. I'm definitely gonna add some of the music in this game to my OST playlist and shit like that because this is a good OST. It was a good OST, you know. As much as I shit on it, the OST was good. So you know.
Nectar flowers that were closed before have been opened and can be explored upon revisiting. We can also collect these sprite bulbs around all the islands too. They may not seem like they do anything, but they certainly will be useful. And by the way, does anyone else think these bulbs kind of look like the Lumens from Rayman Legends? Or is that just me?
I never played Rayman, so I can't say.
Random purple capsule, and it needs to be opened with a hammer. This is where Vilda and Make It from earlier come in handy. We need to find them in order to obtain our hammer. To do this, we'll need to use this ocean map that this guy stuck in the capsule somehow gave us. While this map is extremely helpful, it's also one of the most frustrating parts of the entire game.
You think so?
You travel by sea on these currents, and you can point the ship to go in any direction you want. The only problem is the speed of the ship. Look at how slow it moves.
Yes.
The only way to access new islands is for the ship to physically be close by, and then spot it with a golden cannon. And let me tell you, there are several points in Brothership where this mechanic drags the pacing down because you have to wait for the stupid ship to reach the destination.
That's true.
Thankfully, you can fast travel from island to island once you've cleared it, but finding new islands can just be mind-numbing sometimes.
That's
but
true.
Anyway, I decided to head to
Without
the
criticism.
first. This looks like your
The game
typical
starts very
grassy
slow.
area with a lot of mushrooms and large.
The game starts
species as
extremely
platforms.
slow.
We quickly find Make It, but with no way to reach her. While figuring that out, this NPC asks if we can see the sprite bulb. My guy, come on, it's literally right in front of me, dude. Oh, I can already tell that this game is going to be more hand-holdy than I'd like. In the shop area, we find Broodmaster Diode. He really needs some hair wax to be able to dance. So after running through this forest-like area, we find this girl that's stuck on a high ledge. You take an alternate route and eventually reach her, get her down safely, and make your way over to her shop that sells the wax. The wax gives back Diode's funkiness, and after doing some dancing with him, this tree grows and we're able to reach Make It. So it's been over 2 hours of playing at this point, and we somehow still don't have the hammer yet. And now that we're talking to Make It, he just wants to dance while we have to reconnect the island? Come on, dude, just give us the stupid hammer already.
Make us the girl.
This is where I first started to notice how
You're
long
misgenering my
it takes
goat.
for anything to happen in this game. The main reason I was hoping to get the hammer much earlier was to simply spice up the combat a bit. Because
Yeah.
solely jumping on enemies over and over is already getting stale. But
Yeah.
once returning to Ship-Shape Island, Make It is finally making our hammers, and it's about time. Even Mario looks pissed. Bro has just about had it with this shit. We get the hammers, and we can smash apart that purple capsule that was stuck on the island. We can also break up large boulders in the way, which makes running around Ship-Shape Island much more convenient. The dude in the capsule is Nathan Hart. He tells us about the Great Lighthouse, which is the overarching thing to light up compared to just the regular lighthouses. Mark gives us a rough idea on where to find them, but we're going to have to do a lot of exploring on our own to really get there. Before doing that, I figured out that we can smash these boxes
Ark's
with
my goat,
hammers,
by the way. I
and
love
that's
Ark.
when I realized that we're getting a ton of free items. In fact, so many items come from the overworld that I kind of doubt that we'll need to buy anything from the shop. We probably shouldn't be sprinkled with items like
A lot of my items I had during the last boss fight, I had throughout the entire game. Like, I mean, yeah, I bought items when I needed them and shit, but like all my like super rare items, I just held on to until the very end. Like those max candies and shit, like I held on to those until the very last battle and shit. Cause like, I mean, why am I gonna use these on like fucking Bowser and shit? I'm gonna wait till Reclusa almost kills me, and then I use those, revive fully basically, and then beat Reclusa in one try. By the way, Reclusa wasn't that hard. We'll get to her later, but like, you know, fucking, I mean, they give you items in this game for sure, and fucking, I held on to a bunch of them and shit, you know.
Like this, but I also don't mind since I can put that money towards upgrading gear instead. So I headed back to Rumbla Island to get more of the sprite bulbs, and also did this new type of puzzle where you have to jump on the correct platform without falling through the areas. However, I decided to not get every sprite bulb, seeing as I still had no idea what their purpose even was. If for whatever reason these bulbs are important, then I can just head back to the island whenever I want. This is yet another aspect of Brothership that hurts the pacing. We literally aren't going to find out what these bulbs are even for a few more hours. Why does it have to be like this? There's literally no reason that the game can't introduce more combat mechanics earlier on. It takes way too long for in-depth mechanics to be added in.
Yeah.
And I have to point out the loading times too. They're pretty long when going from island to island, even in between battles.
I didn't have a problem catching all the sprite bulbs throughout the game and shit, but I can understand what he's talking about. They took a while to actually introduce the battle plugs in this game, actually, now I think about it. And then what he said about the hammer was super cooked, because I thought we were going to get the hammer way sooner, or as soon as we got to Rumbla, we would meet someone who gives us the hammers and shit. And they were just teasing us with the damn hammer for like a whole another chapter. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. So I get what he means. I
wouldn't mind, but since there's a lot of loading that interrupts things constantly, it starts to drone on quite a bit. Well, regardless, I shot myself to the next place, which was Rainforest Island. And honestly, it looks very similar to Twisty Island. The main difference is that there's more trees and it's also raining, so I guess it's not that. It's pretty clever that the hidden blocks can be very subtly seen due to the rain dripping off the sides. That's the kind of polish I can expect from Nintendo games. I also love this guy that's asking me if I am master the art of carrying things.
I've mastered this. Yes.
Jesus Christ, bro.
In each island, you'll find this
dropping your 3DS with a fucking bit. I respect it. Jesus.
It also tells the worst jokes known to mankind. After some time,
chill on Grapey Turnip. Chill on Grapey Turnip.
All he says is that some toads got lost in the forest, so we have to find them all and basically...
Grapey Turnip's jokes aren't that good, but he's a good character. He gets a pass. Respect Grapey Turnip.
Together. We also need to find 4 of these switches to open the gate, which lets us get to the lighthouse. Also, Luigi can somehow float in the air now. Yeah, he somehow just like flaps his arms for a bit and gets tight to grab his sledge. They made him a demigod in this game for some reason.
Yes, they did.
First he gets logic, and now he can defy all laws of gravity.
Yes.
Ooh. We got to the lighthouse and Rainforest.
No one really like that about Luigi in this game, but whatever.
It's honestly kind of nice that the islands don't take that long. The size of each area doesn't feel that big, and going from point A to B doesn't take a considerable amount of time. And I can really appreciate that. Once I got back, I was
able to do this game in such a short amount of time because each island I could do in one sitting. You know, there was never a point where I had to be like, well, all right, guys, well, after 5 hours, let's save and I'll come back to this island tomorrow or next week. Like, no, like, I mean, I was able to sit down to a whole island and fucking call out a session and shit. So this game, it was very, I almost want to say fluid, but at the same time, it wasn't that fluid. It was decent enough and shit.
Some big dude was causing havoc at Rumble Island, so after heading back, I found our first big boss fight, Rumble. This rocky dude literally says he is causing destruction because nobody pays attention to him. So basically, a Twitter user. After finding these 2 outlets and plugging them into the
Rumble is definitely a Twitter user.
We could take him on. Anyone else think that he kind of looks like Roy or me?
No, he looks like a fucking
this is the first time we're
one of the Koopalings, for sure.
Rumble's attacks come in fast and frequently. We also get to see Luigi logic used in battle. It is probably the highlight of the boss fights. Luigi looks into the background and finds something that can do substantial damage to the boss. When that happens, Luigi logic becomes the move, and you have to pull it off perfectly to deal the damage. This boss has Luigi grabbing a block, pulling himself into Rumble, getting thrown at Mario, and then smashing the block with Mario to send it back to deal dizziness and sometimes damage for a couple turns. These are so much fun to pull off, and I'm glad that every boss has their own unique type of Luigi logic. After this fight, Mario and Luigi were at level 8, which means we can get a rank up bonus. This entails an extra stat boost that you can pick from, but this can only be done every 8 level ups. You'll never be able to pick up every bonus, so it's important to pick bonuses you think would be the most helpful in the long run. Once that's done, we'll let Yells into Rumble, then suddenly goes Super Saiyan and slaps the absolute shit out of him. Oh my god!
Oh my god.
then gives us a return pipe, which is super helpful for traveling from island to island. Just stand in a random spot, push CR, and you can warp wherever you want. Well, except on Ship-Shape Island, you can't use the bull pipe there for some reason. And speaking of that island, we also got access to our first Bros attack, which is the red shell and green shell. So finally, the combat is going to get slightly more interesting because we won't be stuck with just jump and hammer attacks. But for now, it's time to talk about Rock. This fellow.
Okay, before you talk about my goat is a rock, I wonder if he's gonna talk about how the bro moves are just kind of handed to you and shit. Like, that was my biggest thing about the game. Is like, dude, like, I mean, yeah, they're giving us bros moves, but they're like not related to the story at all. They're not like, you know, cleverly given to us for some reason, and like, you know, they're just like, here you go, bros moves. Really? Like, you're not gonna, like, you know, I don't know, man. Like, am I asking too much of this game? Like, maybe I'm asking too much of this game. Maybe I am. I don't know. I for me, just go back to the beginning. Superstar Saga. Every time you learn a bros move, it was because you needed to. Well, for starters, the bros moves are related to the overworld as well. Okay, there was high jump bros, splash bros, dig Luigi in the ground, and then, you know, tornado helicopter bros, and you know what I'm talking about? Like, those. They were all related to the story of the game, and these are all just fucking random. They were all just fucking random. They're good. They were good bros moves. I used to hate a lot of them, and then I started practicing them more, and I like them more. But like, yeah, I really want to know what he thinks about it as we go on. You know, I'm pausing a lot because I want to obviously react to it because I'm passionate about this shit. I just fucking played the damn game.
Really likes reefs, and there's quite a few of them on the currents. To find them, you just sail around and wait until you get notified on the map that one has been spotted. Or you can just look for the silhouettes. It's pretty obvious what the reefs are. Once a bunch of reefs are found, you report them back to the rock and he'll give you rewards. So while it is kind of mindless, I did enjoy seeing what the reefs actually look like, because a lot of them are pretty interesting structures. However, at this point in the game, sailing is already becoming incredibly tedious. It takes so long to get around, and there's no way to speed up the ship. There will be faster methods later, but for now, I just have to wait for what is literally several minutes to reach new currents.
This is bad.
I got so bored waiting that I started working on a side quest, because there was nothing else to do. Now, I'm not going to go that in-depth with most of the side quests, because they really aren't that interesting.
That's
this
true.
This example just requires me to find a spyglass. But I did have the chance to try out the Bros attacks, and good lord! The red and green shell animations look like they come right out of Mario Strikers. Like, seriously, look at how insane these final hits are. Thankfully, the side quest filled out enough time to eventually reach the next drifting area, Coral Island. And would you look at that? It's, another grassy island. Yeah, the themes don't change that much. But this one does have more of a focus on flowers. There's even some big flowers that you can bounce and float on. After hitting some nuts to open up flowers, there's a big gap to clear to reach some toads. So of course, Luigi has the logic to turn into a unicorn and fly across the gap. But wait, what just happened? I mean, hey, this is a fun mechanic to go across this. It's just such a random and goofy solution. And look at Mario and Luigi running around dancing together. Oh my god, this game is so cute. Look how happy they are. After handling more nuts and some flower jumps, we got up top to what is honestly a pretty quick island. At this point, we were already done with the region and just had to go to the Great Lighthouse. I needed to take care of a couple things, and that's when I realized a glaring issue. The top left map on every island always shows the sea. While this is helpful when waiting for a reefer island, it makes navigating the island you're currently playing on really annoying.
Yes.
It'd be nice to have a mini-map as an option, but instead you have to pause the game to see the map. That is really obnoxious when a mini-map of the island would have been easy to add in.
That's a big one. I'm glad you brought that up because I was so annoyed when that map was just always in the vicinity. It was like covered up a 16th of the screen. It's a big fucking screen. Part of your fuck is big. It's huge. So that was literally really annoying. It could have just been a mini map of the actual level you're on, so you know where you're going. You don't have to press plus to fucking see where you're headed and shit. Instead, it's like, yeah, want to see where the ship shape is? It's like, no, that's not important at all when I'm on a whole different island than ship shape. So yeah, that was very annoying. No option to change that or move that or anything. Just fucking bad decision. Bad decision.
Also learn about Connie's mentor. This mentor has gone missing, and Connie takes moments to look for him on specific islands. We're seeing a lot more of her character through these story beats, and it gives Connie more time to follow Mario and Luigi along the quest. We're also finally given an option to speed up the ship speed. while I greatly appreciate this, why did it take 5 hours to have this unlocked? This should have been included from the very beginning. We didn't need a story about codes propelling the ship for us. We're already on a goddamn ship. It should have come equipped with propellers already. But whatever.
I can understand why he's upset about that, because I agree. I'm sorry. This type of shit could be easily solved with story beats and stuff. You know, I forgot that Floral Island was the third island. I thought that was the first island, and then Rumble Island was the third or something. I forgot that entirely. We could have done so much more if we went to Floral Island first, and that was like the tutorial island that kind of set things going and shit like that. Yeah, like the beginning of this game is very slow because of just like weird things like that. Like, I'm sorry, what was the first island? Rumble Island was the first island, which is fine because it introduced, you know, a few goat characters. And then that's Twisty, which is lame. Rainforest is also kind of lame. And then Floral, which finally gets us some story progression of some shape or form. And just like, they could have reorganized this shit to make it fucking cooler. Because in my opinion, it should have been Floral, Twisty, Rainforest, then Rumbla. Just in terms of like story, intensity, you know, building up, you know, towards a climax where obviously Garumbla was the first boss of the game. You know, that could have been like a more interesting build up to that and shit. I'm gonna talk about it more in a whole nother video outside of this one. I'm gonna like fucking write a fan fiction about this fucking game. You know, I don't normally do that shit. If I write anything, it's really only for myself and towards like my own personal goal and benefit. But like, I feel like I need to like be like, this is how to make this game better. Because what the fuck did we just play?
Finally made it to the Great Lighthouse Island. Except that I didn't do it, as I was notified that side quests can expire. Whoa, 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 wait, what? What do you mean side quests can expire? To get 100%, I have to complete the side quests before reaching certain points in the game, or I won't be allowed to do them later. This is so unabashedly stupid. Like, yeah, I guess it could make certain side quest stories a little confusing if someone were to do them all at the end after a bunch of story already happened, which honestly this was my original plan. But in that case, why not just assign the side quest and not be heavily tied to the main story? I genuinely don't understand the logic. And apparently this is somewhat common in RPGs.
I mean, you must not play a lot of RPGs, because I mean, side quests that are either related to the story or affect the story, I love those. Those just add bits and pieces to the story. I mean, I understand that you don't want to have a time because be time limited. But when they said that, I was oh, sure thing, no problem. I'll just do that right now, no problem. You know, as a avid JRPG fan, sure, let me go do these side quests and shit because I want to know what happens if I do this on time. You know, that just made perfect sense to me. Those are some of the best side quests. The time limited ones were some of the most well written ones. A lot of side quests in this game are just kind of like lackluster or maybe even mid. The time limited ones were very good because they give you more insight on the characters and shit. You know, I love that shit. That was totally fine with me. I guess it's not for everybody, but I liked it a lot. I'm trying to think. I think what I wish the side quest did, like the regular side quest, obviously they were supposed to give you some type of medium-sized reward, which is fine. I wish the story-based side quest actually mattered in some way, shape, or form. Because, I mean, I did all of them, so I know what happens in the entire game. But, like, nothing that you did and didn't do doesn't affect anything. That's the main issue with the game. And I know we're going to talk about it when we have the Converging Paths conversation coming up soon. But, like, you know, just this first one, you know, go see how Wilma's doing. No, you don't miss anything if you don't see how she's doing. Obviously, you miss the picnic boots, which are an item, a weapon. But it's like, okay, but, like, you don't miss anything for not seeing Wilma, you know, or anything in that matter. So that's the really core issue of it. Like, they could have done more with those red side quests. That would have been so much more interesting, but I'm not the game designer.
Look, I haven't played a lot of RPGs beyond the Mario ones, so this honestly came as a shock to me.
Oh, well, you gotta get your RPG resume up, dude. Like, what are you talking about? You don't play RPGs, bro? What kind of games do you play? You're a Nintendo player? You don't play all the RPGs outside of Mario and Luigi, man? You got fucking Pokemon, Dragon Quest, Earthbound, even a Final Fantasy if you're that type of guy. I'm more a Dragon Quest guy, obviously. What else is out there? Tales of. I mean, those chock full of side quests. Like, these are RPGs. You gotta get your RPG game up, man. Like, I mean, how many RPGs have I played on this channel alone? Classic Heroes, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. You know what I'm talking about? I played plenty of RPGs. I think RPGs is my favorite genre of games. Furnace Gate, Revenant Saga, Mercenary Saga Chronicles, Vampire's Cold Soul. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I play RPGs, okay? So, you gotta get your RPG resume up, man. That's a trope. Side quests, limited side quests, you gotta, secret side quests, yeah, man, you gotta do those, man. Yeah, that's not a surprise to nobody who plays games, man.
Anyway, once the side quests were taken care of, we're actually going to the lighthouse, and most of it takes place inside. There's some new enemies here, but the environment is mostly just grass again with a darker shade. To get through, we hit these switches, and it turns on these fans so we can easily get across gaps below. I also have to find more plugs to open up this gate, and do a bunch of platforming over all these spikes. After getting the gate open, we encounter our first real boss, Goblin. I don't know about you, but this 100% looks like a Pokemon from an Ultimate Universe. It checks all the boxes. I was mostly just using throws attacks, and the Luigi logic involved just throwing Goblin into a wind current. Very Mario 64-esque, if I may say so myself. After we went down, we went up to the top of the lighthouse, but instead of grabbing a plug and bringing it to the tree, Connie pulls out a water can and showers the lighthouse in electrons or bonds, I guess? That's the best way to describe it. The entire building is essentially being re-powered up. The electricity is so powerful that it's able to create an entire new current in the water, which takes us to the next region. And wow, we found the second lighthouse already. Oh, that's nice. Except that it's completely barricaded with no way to get in. So for now, I found another place to go to, which was
I'm loving his choice of Mario
this
RPG music
kind of
to
like
go along with this,
and I really like the theme a lot. I can't believe I'm
this
about to
video.
make this comment, but the way this island looks in particular with the art style reminds me of Sonic Chronicles. I know that's an insane
Sonic
comparison,
Chronicles.
but you can't tell me that there isn't at least a little bit of similarity here. Well, regardless, these birds keep taking civilians, and it's
haven't
starting
played
to
that game
become a
in
more rampant problem.
God
We
knows
also
how
run into this
long.
group of kids that call themselves idle. They don't really do much, to be honest. They're so non-intimidating that Luigi falls asleep during the monologue. Fortunately, these guys know where the lighthouse is. Unfortunately, we have to play hide and seek with them first. So this kind of feels like a big waste of time, but I guess it's a good way to familiarize ourselves with the island. We also find out how these work in the scene, too. Instead of finding them buried in the ground, you'll get them from side quests or boxes and are used to upgrade your stats. It's a pretty solid use for them, and I'm glad that they're still in the game to some capacity. So after running through a few warehouses and finding the idle group, they open the gate for us. We had to run in with these 3 goons that have also popped up a few times already, and discover that they're called the Extension Corps. Oh, the puns, man. So many puns here. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. We also get a good
Respect
look
the
at the
Extension
main leader,
Corps.
Zocket. And, wow, that's the mentor, isn't it? Yeah, he's shaped exactly like Connie's mentor. I'm going to call it right here and now. Just saying. So we end up fighting
Okay.
one of...
I'm pretty sure I caught on to Zaka being the mentor pretty quickly as well. After, like, you know, each kind of, you know, flashback with the mentor and just kind of like, you know, talking about it, obviously it became more relevant and more obvious and shit for sure. I don't know how. Well, I mean, I do know how they could have made it better, but I'll have to break it down to you in a fucking Microsoft Word document and shit, how they could have made that plot twist better, but I'm not doing that right now. I'll do that later. Yeah, just go ahead, Daniel. Not Daniel,
The
sorry.
extension guys, his name is 10, and just look at him. His arm is a 3.5mm deck, and the back of his head is an XLR ending. This is the silliest design I've seen for a boss in 8 years.
Yeah.
It's not that hard either. We mostly just had to counter a
Silliest
bunch
boss
of
design you'll see yet.
After 10 was
I like
defeated,
10.
he
10 was
dropped
cool.
something extremely important. In fact, this object is the sole reason why the combat finally gets engaging. This is a battle plug, and this plug is used in combat. You can swap out these plugs with tons of other ones. But how do you get them? That's where the sprite bulbs come in. They serve as a currency to unlock all the plugs. These plugs run off charge, and once the charge reaches 0, they'll have to recharge. that means you have to pick and choose your plugs carefully depending on what you're fighting. I absolutely love this mechanic.
I do
adds
too.
so much more depth to the combat, and
Yes.
is a much bigger incentive to actually collect all the sprite bulbs. I don't know why it took almost 6 hours of playing to get access to the battle plugs,
That's
but
true.
at least they're here now.
That is
I hope
true.
you understand by now why I think this game is so slow-paced, too. It took hours to unlock the battle plugs, a couple more for the frozen packs, and even just moving the ship faster took time. All
Yep.
of these aspects add so much to the gameplay, and yet we're held back for such a long period of time. And look, I'm not against unlocking all these things one at a time.
I totally forgot that the first battle plug you find is in Desolate Island, which is in the second sea. I totally forgot about that. I could have sworn you had your first battle plug earlier. That's another instance of like setting up the story sooner to do different things. Like I said, when I talk about this game in depth on a Microsoft Word document, I'm gonna like take out islands of the story. People gonna be, but that was my favorite island. No, that island sucked and didn't do anything to the story. You could have done this differently and better. Sorry. You know, like it could have, like, I don't know. They could have reorganized so much more of the story, and for some reason they just didn't. And that's what's really holding the game back early on, at least. Once the game starts going and shit, then we're good, you know. But like, you know, it took too long to get started. I mean, once you're done with the second sea, you're 50% through. Once you're done with the second Great Lighthouse, you're 50% through with the game. And like I said, I didn't put up my TikTok rant until I was 75% through with the game. That's the third Great Lighthouse, or right before it, I'm pretty sure. That's when I talked about it. And look, if you could be 70%, 75% through a game, make a rant about the game, and the internet agrees with you about it, you're on the right track. Okay, you don't have to be 100% through with something to be, you know, to give a totally valid criticism with it and shit, you know. And that comes to me. That comes as a One Piece fan, you know. Me personally, I say, look, if you get to Arlong Park, and that will be when you know if you actually like the show or not. I know that's a little bit, right? Especially, you know, having to get through Sierra Village and the Brontier for sure. But Arlong Park is when that really happens and shit, you know. And if for some reason you got through Arlong Park and you're not liking it, I'm not sure what to say. But if you're still watching all the way up to like Alabasta and Skypiea, if you got through Skypiea, you're not sure if you like it yet, I think you're just lying to yourself for some reason. It's like you're 200% at the very least and shit, you know. But like I said, that's the part of the game you have to swallow, the 50% part, you know. Getting through East Blue, Alabasta, the Skypiea. Okay, then it gets good at Water 7 Enies Lobby, right? I mean, look, that's when I start glazing One Piece, okay? But like for this game, look, 50% through, 75% through for the story to get good, that's very rough. And this is just shorter than One Piece, okay? Like, it's not the same length at all. There's a different scaling. So that's where I'm like, dude, 75% through the game and I'm not even really feeling anything yet? That's kind of crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Because throwing all that at once would have been confusing, but did it really need to take 7 hours before the combat is allowed to be more dynamic?
7 hours is a long time.
Ship,
Hold on, let me see how many hours I put into this game. 60 hours. 7 is almost 10. That's almost a tenth of the game. Before the battle system gets really fast. No, a sixth of it, rather. I'm sorry, a sixth of it. You feel me? That's still pretty old. That's still a lot, you know. That's almost a sixth of the game before you know, the game starts to actually do anything and shit. And I beat the game in 60 hours. I just looked at it, you know. So for almost 10 hours to go by without the game really like doing anything interesting, that's a big ask. That's a bigger ask than me asking you to get through Arlong and shit. You feel me? Yeah, I mean, at least I'm asking you to get to Skypiea before making your decision, but like Arlong, like, hey, that's an ask. That's like 30 episodes, you know? And I mean, almost 10 hours? That's rough. That's a rough start.
The group also joined us for some reason. I guess we're gonna be friends now. We're also informed that a star has landed on the beach, and what the hell, Starlow's in the game? I mean, I can't be that surprised since Starlow's in a lot of Mario games, but I didn't think it would happen since we already have Stoutland. The reason Starlow showed up is to tell us about Marigold Island. That's where all the kidnappings have been happening, apparently. For a side quest, I had to shoot over to our first island of the game too. Min Island is the same as a regular island, except much smaller and usually only has a couple things to find. We went to the Extension Corp dudes for a minute, and then they dropped some boots. We also find out that Peach is trapped at Marigo Island, so we head right over. This is another fun area. It's designed like a theme park with concession stands and colorful walkways. There's a level with a big labyrinth filled with enemies, and you can only get around by climbing little inside areas and
I like Marigo.
the walls. This is a pretty neat way of utilizing Mario and Luigi as a duo, since Mario climbs up a set of stairs to see what we're looking at. I also made a battle plug combination by accident, showing that certain groups of plugs may sometimes work together to make them better. Again, I must reiterate, more complexity to the combat system is exactly what we needed. Once getting past
I agree.
Birdo suddenly appears, so I guess everyone was mistaking her for Peach. We end up fighting some birds, and then they explode, and then this guy technically comes into frame. This is an engineer that believes he has the skills to be able to blow through the wall of the Great Lighthouse.
My boy Nathaniel is generating everybody as he in this game. It's kind of crazy. It's like, you think Technicky's a guy? I mean, I don't know that many guys named Nikki. I know some named Nick, but Nikki? She has eyelashes. You can clearly see them. What do you... Alright, we're
With
good.
this revelation, we finally run into Peach at the end of the island and then finish it up. Peach reunites with Starlo, and everyone meets up in a form of plan. The idea is for one of them to purposefully get taken by Snapper, which are the birds that have been kidnapped. That way, the person kidnapped can play detective and get a better idea of what's going on behind the scenes. Surprisingly, you actually get to pick between Peach and Luigi communities. Brothership has a few moments where you have options like this, but they don't generally change things too much regardless of what's decided. I went with Peach so I can still have Luigi.
Does he not have an issue with that? Because that's my biggest issue with the game. When they asked me what to send Peach or Luigi, obviously I sent Luigi because I don't want Peach to get kidnapped frame one. But I'm like, dude, I thought this was gonna be like, oh shit, like, you know, the story is actually going to like change depending on what I do, and then just nothing happens. He admitted nothing really happens, but I guess he doesn't really care to criticize that at all. That was a big issue for me. I was like, dude, this game could have been fucking crazy if, depending on what you decided, could have been like story changing. That would have added so much replayability. I'm not gonna play this game another time. What the fuck? We're gonna make the same decisions and make the same build for Mario and Luigi? Like, no, there's no point to that. It's just like, that was my biggest thing. That was my biggest thing, dude. Ugh. The fact that like nothing you actually do makes a difference and shit. That gave me so much issues, man.
Is a partner for fighting, and she was taken to another island. Technicky also gave us some new Frozen packs, and then we made our way to Lodgepoint Island. All I can think of is Alcatraz when I see this island. I don't know why, but this is a very business-city-like place. There's lots of business happening, and everyone working here seems to be very important. This island is probably my favorite for how different it is, and the NPCs have some great dialogue too. So many of them were worried about doing well, or getting promotions, not getting fired, and things like that. So we make it.
I like a lot of Coins Islands. A lot of Coins Islands was one of my favorites. The puzzle is retarded, but I liked a lot of coins.
But of course, there's a gate blocking it. So after a series of manipulating workers and solving pin-based puzzles, the gate opens up. This is the first time a couple of the puzzles stumped me for a minute. We find out the Extension Corp is threatening some guy's family farther upstairs, so we end up finding that family is...
I didn't like the puzzle getting into a lot of Coins Island. I had to look it up on the internet to figure out how to do it. And like, there's not an issue with that on its own, but the puzzle, I couldn't understand, like, when the puzzle's supposed to be kind of obvious in the game. Like, when I look at the game screen, I should be able to figure out what the answer to the puzzle is by looking at the game, exploring around it. I couldn't figure that shit out. That was one of my first tilts of the game and shit, and I had to look up on the internet, and the answer on the internet was even stupider. So, I mean, I want to know what Nathaniel really doesn't like about this game at this point, because it's like, to me, it's small shit like that builds up over time into an avalanche. It's like, this is, you know? So, we'll see. Like I said, a lot of Coins Island was the first island that I was like, not even stumped at with the puzzle. Like, it wasn't stumped. It was like, dude, this is a stupid puzzle. That's what the issue was. Not that I was stumped. I'm okay with a hard puzzle. No, that was a stupid puzzle. That was the issue. But I guess he didn't care about that. I don't know. You couldn't pay me to figure out what was the point of that puzzle. Because I remember the puzzle. It was stupid. It was bad. I had to look up how to do it.
As well as Peach, and they're trapped in some room. After breaking them out with more puzzles, they're set free, but now we're trapped again from some of the guards. So what do we do to escape? Turn into a ball, duh. This is my favorite transformation by far. The ball ability is used to get through pipes and easier traveling in general. I love how it looks exactly like the Google Chrome icon, with the only difference being the color. While rolling around at the speed of sound, I visited the shop and found some peculiar gear. The Golden POW and Golden Defense. They boost power defense based on how many points you have. While this sounds incredible for the late game, they also cost 25,000 points each and aren't exactly affordable right now.
I didn't even think about buying those.
One with the ball,
I've had so much opportunities to buy those gloves, and I just never did. I had so much money in this game, and I just spent it on healing items. I didn't even think about the Golden POW gloves. I didn't even think about that shit.
Possible to open the security door and free all the hostages. From there, I had to go through a few more rooms with ball mazes, and ended up on the top of the building. After confronting the extension core again, we're left to fight a massive snapper. This is another really great boss fight, considering there's a bunch of new attacks to avoid compared to the regular snappers. Luigi logic this time has us matching a bunch of spinning pipes together, and then blasting a heap of water on a snapper, and now that I've been...
I never did that properly, so I didn't know how to do it, and I never did that properly.
Playing Brothership with these plugs and the new islands for a while, I'm really growing to enjoy it a lot. I'm hoping the pace doesn't slow down again, because things are feeling really good right now. So when Snapper was
Hold
down,
your breath.
Technicky finally showcased his work of ingenuity to us. A literal rocket. While it may look complete, it still needed some stickum oil. And guess who has to find that and run the errand? Yeah, we'll do that in a second. But for now, I wanted to get the fishing rod because yes, you can also fish in this game. I also talked to the idol group, and now they want to join their cult. Oh, that's weird.
Their
But that's
cult.
not all. Dory randomly shows up. Well, for a side quest, but still, that's cool. I eventually figure out that we need to go to All Sand Island to get this stickum oil. And for whatever reason, rolling over the quicksand as opposed to walking over it keeps us safe from sinking. I guess it's because of the ball's friction? I don't know, but that's the only guess that I've got. And this isn't just any desert either. You'll find these bone shark dudes. We're warned ahead of time to not fight them, but I don't think it'll be that bad. Oh, 319 damage.
Yep.
Jesus Christ almighty.
Yep.
After getting around All Sand, we find where the oil is supposed to be, and gasp, there's barely any there at all. Oh no, it's being clogged up by the fact that we haven't hit these big Mario and Luigi buttons with our hammer. Okay, there we go. That solves the problem, and then we can get the oil we need. After connecting the island, we head back to Technicky, and the rocket is ready to rock. This is after finding Connie, who is once again having a flashback about her mentor. Rocket, to be honest, just is. Before takeoff, Rocket takes a good look at Ship-Shape Island and flaunts at how much we don't matter to his plan. Yeah, we'll see about that, Mr. Mentor. I'm still predicting that you're the plot twist. The only problem with this rocket is the only way to steer it is to actually be on top of the rocket. Yeah, brilliant design technique. Instead of making a remote control to use it. Oh, hell no to that. Let's just manually ride a bomb. Great idea. So the idol group volunteers this tribute, and they actually managed to crash the missile into the wall. There's no way they survived that. I mean, look at how big that explosion was. Oh, okay, yeah, they're just fine. Well then, we've made it to the next great lighthouse. This area looks much more dingy and dark. It really sets the tone to front the end of the sea and approaching another big boss. Getting through this area is more interesting this time as Luigi crawls around in a barrel while Mario has to avoid a bunch of dark flashlights. It's kind of funny how much this reminds me of Echoes of Wisdom, although that's probably just recency bias. I just played it like a month or two ago. What was kind of annoying was that Luigi moved on his own, and there's almost no way to control him. So you just kind of have to wait for him to move forward and hope you don't get caught. I finally tried out the new Bros attacks too. Zapparator has Mario and Luigi pushing back and forth on a switch, charging up this huge thundercloud. I got pretty good at this, but I noticed that it's almost laggy. Yeah, for some reason, when the cloud expands, the game hiccups for a second, and it throws off my button presses. Then there's Hatch Me If You Can. You have to hit a Yoshi egg, chuck it at the ground, and then Yoshi comes out into the final ground pound again. I have to reiterate, the cinematic shots from these Bros attacks are simply a joy, and make using these moves super gratifying. While getting through the lighthouse,
I never noticed if Zapparator lagged my game at all, but I don't know. I never noticed that. But to be so wrong.
Bizarre glitch with these boxes. In case you're wondering, my response to that is after getting the plugs to open the gate, it was time to take on Shark Pass. Oh, Yes, that's correct. This is a barrel with eyeballs. Man, Mario RPG boss design really is an enigma, isn't it? You can go from a stapler to a Shadow Queen monster that's controlling Peach's soul to a barrel with eyes. You really never know what you're getting pulled out of the bag. For something that's just a barrel, he was really damn fast and hitting pretty often. It also had some beefy defense. The Luigi logic is very different too. You have to basically stack these metal boxes on top of sharp casts while constantly moving him from left to right. And it gets kind of tough by the end to keep the boxes well stacked. But once the battle was done, one of the extension dudes left behind another power tap, meaning they can snack on an extra battle. Next, I dove right into the next area, which was Goldfish Island. It's a beach-like area, but completely encased in the dark. And this is where things start to get weird. A lot of the citizens are abnormally unfriendly, and they have this weird red/black aura surrounding them. What's happened to them is that they're encapsulated in this glom substance, which is what most of the bosses have been corrupted with too. But I was kind of enjoying the corrupted NPCs. All their dialogue came off as really edgy one-liners, as Shadow would say. We also meet this couple, Chilliam and Bernadette. They're an integral part of the story, and are definitely not the last time we see them. These two are a couple that are madly in love, and that's their main personality trait. Farther ahead, the leader of this land, Layden, is missing some goldfish eggs. So of course, we need to find them to get access to the lighthouse. We look for clues, and then talk to this guard that wants us to do this stupid quiz form, and he's blocking the gate we gotta get to. So then we have to find all the answers to his dumb quiz, to get past it, and can finally get inside. The gate has a bunch of jail cells in it, and we eventually end up in an office that has a book that gives us a better view of who may have stolen the eggs. We learn from this that it's probably Layden's assistant, so now we just have to prove that. We end up going back to the jail cell cave, and the couple is trapped down there as they're accused of stealing the eggs. So now we have to find a key, which is pretty easy once the bodyguard gets possessed and drops it by accident. For that, after freeing the couple, we find a room with a bunch of numbers. Then with Luigi logic, we have to hold on a second. Do we really need his logic to know that we need to simply step on the numbers in order?
Yes.
Okay, I guess we do, because this game is for 5-year-olds all of a sudden.
That's right.
Once that was done, we spot the assistant, chase him down, and confront him about the donations. After a bunch of exposition, we finally link up the island. And this was the first island where the game starts to feel really overflowing. There was just a lot of exposition happening that I didn't really care about, and it didn't feel necessary to drag on as long as it did.
Yeah.
It seems like Layden could really have used the tools from today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community created with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, and productivity, and more. Skillshare can help you take your career, skills, hobbies, passions, or side hustles to the next level. I've been wanting to learn about game development for quite a while, and found a course that helped me explore Blender and how to use it as 3D models and animation, which has been really helpful for that. I also found a course about digital art to improve my drawing skills, seeing as my art skills currently are, well, let's just say they could be a bit of an improvement. Let's just say that. So go ahead and click the link below to try it out now. The first 500 people who use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skills. Back at Shipshape, the Icy Hot couple comes along and find out they're getting married. Don't know how that pertains to us getting the lighthouses back, but good for them. That means we have to go to Heat Freeze Island, and it's basically Freeze Flame Galaxy but smaller. The townspeople on both ends really hate each other for the stupidest reason. Wow, that sounds like the reality of the country we live in. Yay! No, but seriously, they're fighting about what food from their own region is the best. And they're blocking the path, so what do we do about it? Well, of course, we have to try multiple dishes, and then tell these fools which dish is the best. Wow, what a productive use of our time. So we end up telling these people that the food tastes better when they're combined, which drives them to get out of the way to make their dishes taste even better. No, whatever gets them out of the way.
Yep.
We continue climbing up the island and eventually get to an ice/lava cave. And it's pretty much what you'd expect by now. You push a boulder to clear out a path, get chased by a big block of ice, and make way to the lighthouse. All things considered, this was a fairly quick island to plow through, and it was pretty different in style compared to the others. Back at Shipshape, the Extension Core gang is back, and they decide to corrupt Chilliam with the glove. Oh no, Bernadette will be so sad. Oh! Since they showed up, the idol group was able to get some sightings of where they're hiding. And we also get some new bros attacks, Bomb Derby and Jump Hop. But before moving on, there was an expiring side quest.
Oh man, you got side quests to do, buddy.
This one was by far the worst one in the whole game.
Yeah.
You first have to go to Marigo Island. You talk to this guy that has a crush on Birdo, and then you have to go talk to her at Dinky Island. That might not sound that bad, until you realize you can't just walk to the island with a pipe. No. Of course not. Fast traveling only works for the main islands. So I had to take my ship and manually go from one side of the sea all the way to the other just to reach Dinky Island. This is so dumb. Why isn't there fast sailing between the currents? Like, was I supposed to walk to an island that was close to the island? Maybe doing that would somehow make ship safety next to the island I just visited. I don't know. But either way, I spent quite a while waiting for the ship to get there just to do the stupid side quest. Of the two islands I could go to next, I hit up Scorching Island first. We need to find Dr. Volko to help fight off the Glom, and on the way I find bomb flowers. You can't just tell me they aren't bomb flowers from Zelda. They are the same damn thing in function and design. Before entering the mountain, we're confronted with some bombs. This is the first time I've seen a normal Mario enemy. The rest of them have been unique to Brothership. I decided to try out Bomb Derby as well, and it takes a few hits to get the hang of. Luigi throws bombs while Mario wails on them with his hammer, but it has to be done quickly before the bombs explode in Luigi's hand. It's a really effective attack once you get used to how it works. And Jump Helmet is a great one too.
It's not
Mario
that,
puts on a helmet with a
Bomb Derby was the one I used the least because it took too much effort to excellent properly, and also, yeah, actually, it's just too much effort to excellent properly. I didn't realize you had excellent. It just should get the final blow for it. That makes it suck even harder. So, I mean, I don't understand how anyone can say that's a good ability. Jump Helmet is good, though.
Huge spring, and you have to constantly launch Luigi higher and higher into the air. This is actually one of the strongest attacks in the game, and it's pretty easy to pull off, too. In the cave, we're at a dead end with a bunch of lava spewing in front of us. So that's when Luigi gets the logical idea of using our UFO spin to also pick up objects underneath us. Okay, so the abilities can upgrade, apparently. That's kind of sick. This is also used to steal money from the sewer holes. I always knew Mario and Luigi were thieves. So after climbing the mountain for a while, we get the plug, and then
I really kind of wondered and wish if he would have talked about that at all. I mean, because at this point of the game, the Burning Sea, Scorching Island, we're almost 75% through the game. We've seen these little vents all throughout the game and shit, and the fact that they only had coins in them fucking, like, sent me. Like, those, and I said it while playing Let's Play, those could have been, like, coin, bean. That would have been, oh shit, now I gotta go all the way back to each island and get each and every one of these, because they're dropping beans. No, it's just coins. Like, that tilted me heavily. And, it's shit like that is like, damn, this could have been, like, I mean, more engaging at the very least if it was like that, but it wasn't. And now we all have to deal with it, so this is great.
We're done. This was a bit of a longer island, but I liked using the boulders to block off lava and open up new areas. We found Dr. Volko as well and brought him back to the ship, and sadly he didn't have a solution yet. So we went to the next place we could go to, which was Slipping Glide Island. As you'd expect, it's covered in ice, and oh, goodness gracious, most people here are infected with the Glom. To get around, we need to use the ball to roll in the middle of these poles. It's a fun way to navigate, especially when the poles will sometimes open up, requiring you to be fast and nimble. I also found Spike here of all things, and find it really weird how more and more Mario enemies are showing up. But as we're climbing up, we find a building that's shaped after his head, so I guess this is a secret lab or something. Behind his house is a hill with a really strong wind, so Luigi comes up with the best upgrade in the game, and that is letting you build up speed in the ball. So literally, spin dashing like Sonic. This is amazing, as you can use it to get around much faster than just walking. I found myself dashing in the ball pretty often just because of the speed. With some time, we find Ted all alone on the cliff of a mountain, and he manages to sneak away from us. So of course, we break into his lab and find this amazing self-portrait. Because nothing screams confidence more than having a portrait of yourself on the wall. Once leaving, it's a
like
farther up ahead, and we need to get
Okay,
around
Wilson,
the
I
icy
like 10.
water. This is done by pushing these ice blocks around and making a path to get across. Beyond that, we run into...
That was a cool puzzle. I wish Nathaniel would talk about the level design a bit more. We're kind of just going through the story pretty fast. But I like that puzzle a lot. I remember saying I like that puzzle a good amount.
More Mario enemies, and even Bowser Jr., who's been rounding up the minions to fend us off. So that explains why we're seeing so many of them now. It's all his doing. I also find it interesting that Jr. refers to them as minions too, seeing as the 3DS games have side games where Bowser Jr. is also controlling minions. It's probably supposed to be a subtle reference, as we've seen a lot of that already. But after that, we're done with the island.
It's a subtle reference, but it's not a good one.
This was the point where I was kind of ready for Brothership to be over. Personally,
really?
I'm not a fan of really long RPGs. I like them to be about 20 to 25 hours in length. Anything longer than that...
What RPGs do we know that are 20 to 25 hours in length? What are we talking about? I can't even think of a few of them that are that short. Maybe Earthbound? Like, what the hell are we talking about? 20 to 25 hours in length? What RPGs are we playing? I understand what he means by this game kind of dragging on and going, but it's like, dude. I get it, but at the same time, like, dude. 20 to 25 hours? What RPGs are that short? I would like to know them.
That just feels like too much of a time commitment. And yeah, I know it's a weird take, but that's just how I feel about the Mario RPG. In the meantime,
how many of these have you played?
Are the cure to the block. Since we don't have that many, we're gonna have to find a bunch of them to start curing people. There's also this wedding side quest with Chili and Bernadette, so I decided to take care of that since it expires. Man, there sure are a surprising amount of side quests that can expire, isn't there? After almost 2 hours of that
There's a
side
few of
quest
them.
and a few
There's
other
more
ones
than
that
there
are gonna
are.
expire, I could finally start the Great Lighthouse. Immediately upon entering, the Zagat enemies surround us and we're sent to jail. My question though is, why? Can't we just fight them? We clearly have the capability to do that. Oh, nope, we're in jail now. So like the other lighthouse, we have to escape by avoiding the guards and similar tactics as before. And I eventually found where they took Connie. As usual, we needed to find plugs to open up some gates. I got a little lost in a few rooms, so getting all 3 plugs took a bit longer than I thought it would. Once up top, we ran into the extension door. And as usual, they ran away like the bitches they are, and they left us with a boss fight. This one being Pipe Gun. Bro is basically just muck with some flame. But the fight was honestly one of my favorites. Pipe Gunk would switch between lava and ice, which changed his power and attacks. For Luigi logic, you have to take the remote from Shun, and then swap the temperature to turn Pipe Gunk into just Gunk fans. I also have to point out that Shun is just an old school Beach game gable. Again, the designs of these characters are so bizarre, and I love it. Once Pipe Gunk was gone,
some of them
we got
are very
another
good.
plug, and we were on to the final main region. While this game is very slow-paced, I've still been enjoying all the different islands, combat, and especially the bosses. So I'm curious to see how the rest of this game is going to hold up. Once we get to the last region, a fight begins between Sokka and Bowser. It's a really cool scene that reminds me a bit of the Origami game. And at the end, Mario and Luigi get smashed from one of Bowser's balls. Passed out and waking, Mario and Luigi are on a mysterious new island. After a bunch of walking around, it turns out to be a camp where Bowser and his minions are staying. We also meet this guy called Buddy that seems very nice, and is trying his hardest to stay friends with Bowser Jr. The whole time, he's conflicted on if he should help Mario and Luigi or fight against them. So I guess he's a bit of a traitor without trying to be. After a quick wall-turning puzzle, we made our way to the lighthouse and plugged that ship up. While that's nice and all, ship shape is not in the best shape after the war that was happening. But then I get news of news. Twisty and Keaton's Island has been disconnected from the ship. Dude, are you kidding me?
Yep.
Oh, well, that's just great. That means I have to play both of the islands again
Yep.
just to reconnect them.
Yep.
It's just more needless padding. Look,
And the best part is, Twisty Island sucks, and then Heat Freeze Island is okay, but like, Jesus, really? Twisty Island? You gonna make us do that one again? That was what really got me. They could have done any of the islands, but they did Twisty and shit, bro. That's what sent me.
in the story's context, I guess it makes sense that some islands will come after others. But that doesn't make it not annoying that I'm gonna have to take a couple hours to revisit these islands. The main difference in going back to these places is that the enemies are corrupted clubs and also a lot of There's a bit more walking around to do, you gotta dance with Groove Master again, and after a while we get the fun. I don't know, this whole thing is just feels pointless. So
Yep.
then we go back to Heat Freeze, and the
Yep.
Bowser minions have completely taken over the place. The only notable thing worth bringing up is these statues give us the fire and ice flower ability. And this is a really great one. Mario and Luigi take turns shooting fire and ice bombs. It's a fun dynamic to be able to use both fire and ice on the fly. These are used in a lot of clever ways, whether that's freezing and reheating water geysers, destroying ice balls, and freezing pools of lava. While I appreciate this revisit for having a new way to explore it, I wish we got this ability when we first went to Freeze Island. Once we got back to the flood, Locust tells us we need to get amphitheaters at Wayway Island, which is an island that is called hidden with no easy way of getting there. The only clue is to go back to Offman Island, which is the place we washed up a few hours ago. At least revisiting this island makes a lot more sense. And we also got some new road attacks, which are Lockout Blow and Mechanic. Sneaking back into Off-Banded, we have the most world-class,
those are the best ones for sure.
disguises, and these fool all the minions as we scout around looking for information. We find Buddy and Junior actually thankful. Honestly, it's pretty good. They're the complete opposite type of people, yet are still finding things that you love to see. So after learning that we can take islands to reach Wayway Island, we're approached by a minion to drink some soda. And Luigi was apparently really thirsty and, oh, yeah, that was your start here. No deal time for us, yippee! Sure would be sweet to be thin like a piece of paper. Haha, funny Paper Mario reference! Luckily, Buddy is our Lord and Savior and manages to get us out of jail. After breaking out, I finally tried out the youth again and realized that it's the same one from Mountain Inside Story. And then Lockout Low is kind of like going into the Matrix for a second. You have to quickly attack while everything is in slow motion. I gotta say, I've really been enjoying the Rose attacks. They're spectacles to watch.
I'm glad you think so, because it took a while for me to really like all of them. I'm surprised he's not really talking about it, dude. Like, dude, break it down for you. Like, green shell, red shell, like those are fine, but the fact that they're not timing based and they're more action command based really tilted to me. And then I liked Zapparator and I liked Hash Me If You Can after a while. Yoo-Hoo Cannon is dope, and I like Clock Out Strike a lot too. I like a lot of the Bros moves and shit. I just feel like, I'm not a fan of them just giving them to you, and I love Technique for giving them to us. But at the same time, like, damn, like these could have been more creative, more like related to the story in some way, shape, or form. They just gave you them. He's not talking about that enough. Like, I don't know, man. I'm like, dude, this game was so just like matter of fact and shit. You feel me? Like, I feel like that's the main issue with the game. It's like, oh, Mario and Luigi, here you go. It's like, dude, make it good. Like, no, just here you go, Mario and Luigi. It's like, really? Just a ham sandwich, thanks. No extra toppings on it or nothing. Just like, yep, here you go, a ham sandwich. It's like, thank you, I guess.
It was much darker with guards everywhere. And this was one of my favorite stealth sections. It was a blast timing out spin dashes and avoiding the guards in the blink of an eye. We were also getting help from Bunny on where to go, and he helped us escape. Junior figured this out later and got super pissed at him, which I can't blame him. Bunny's supposed to be on their side, but he just can't help being the hero. Once we get back, more side quests are
My issue with Bowser Jr. and Buddy is that their relationship should have been started earlier. I understand that this is off and on island and shit, but it's like, dude, you can't introduce these types of relationships to me and expect me to care. I didn't care that much about Bowser Jr. and Buddy. They're good characters, but like I was not like, super locked into them and shit. Like, that had to be introduced earlier and shit, bro. We spent so much time doing nothing that they wanted to start shelling like, oh yeah, here's important plots of information and shit for you. All of a sudden, I was like, no, dude, like this could have been done sooner instead of later and shit, bro. Like, come on.
So I worked on those. I know I've barely talked about them, but there's just nothing to say about them. A lot of times, the strength of RPGs is with the side quests offering fun bits before the main story. And while I like the story in Brothership, most of the side quests don't really seem that worth doing. In the middle of working on them, I also tried out the fishing. And yep, basic fishing, alright. I did all the side quests I could, but there were 2 expiring ones that were really confusing me. I had no idea how to complete them, so I figured that I'd have to make a tiny bit more progress in the story. So that's what I did. I finally started to look for Wayway Island. I started by checking out Cozy Islet, which just had a bunch of items and beans. But eventually I found Miner Islet, and this was the ticket we were looking for. There were a bunch of pipes here that led to other pipes, and that led us to Wayway Island, which is basically just Bowser's castle. So I guess we'll have to fight Bowser to get the Ant-Berries. The design of this castle is also identical to Double Dash in Bowser's castle, so that's fun. The main obstacle is a series of hot air balloons that run on the back of bugs going up and down. So by using fireballs and ice balls, energy 100 different floors to eventually get up top. My favorite enemies by far were the Shy Guys, because they have this attack where they keep pulling up a flag and you have to push the right button to avoid getting hit by a bomb. Yes, this is actually a Mario Party reference. It is the last thing I'd expect to see in a Mario & Luigi game. After getting to the top, we run into Bowser and he does his usual flaunting. The fight against him was definitely the toughest so far. His attacks were extremely fast and I was not ready for them at first. Bowser actually gave me my first game over because I just didn't have enough.
I think he did too for me. I think that's a very valid yes, game over. For me, that was my first game over too. Like I was surprised. I was damn, I lost a Bowser. Okay, no, I mean that was a decent difficulty spike and he was strong too.
Time or health to learn how to counter all his moves. So after a long and tough fight, Bowser went down and it felt amazing to take him out. That's how you know you made a good boss. This sudden pop-off of excitement radiates in your mind once Bowser's at 0 health. Things aren't looking great, however, as Junior is abducted, and Buddy gets hit with the claw. He's quickly cured, but now has to try to make up for what he said to Junior. While everyone is distracted, we get our amp berries and return to shipshape. Fortress Socket is heading towards us, so now is the time to go. However, I've run into a really huge dilemma. Remember those expired side quests that I skipped thinking I'd have to do them at a later point? Well, they expire, and now I'm completely screwed at getting 100%. To say that I was pissed is an understatement. Even with an
That is completely your fault, because what the hell are you talking about, dude? They said that they expired, bro. If you push the story forward in any way, shape, or form, they're gonna expire. That's 1,000,000,000% your fault. That's not the game's fault. You can't give the game a 5 because you didn't do the fucking side quest on time. What are you talking about? That's entirely your fault. And some of the side quests you could do as soon as you unlock them. Like, I don't even remember what he was talking about. Like, some of the you need to find a small island and shit, but like that's not that hard. What do you mean went all the way to Bowser's Castle? That's kind of confused me because he was talking about the red side quest. And then he started talking about the fucking way away islands. Like, wait, what are you talking about? That's not what you need to do to get that side quest specifically. Yeah, you screw yourself out of 100%. What are you talking about, bro? That's your own fault.
Save file. There was no way for me to go back and do these side quests. After almost 30 hours of playing and completing everything,
no.
Now I can't get a proper 100% because of one mistake.
That's your fault.
This was so infuriating.
That's your fault.
I will never understand why RPGs
no,
have
that's your fault.
Side quests.
That's your fault. That's your fault. That's your fault. Because no, you're not. No, I'm sorry, buddy. Look, in Dragon Quest 11. I don't remember there were any expiring side quests like that, but there are side quests that, you know, they popped up like Gold Sylvando. Ooh, dude, his side quest with his dad was so good, bro. You had to do that shit, bro. Like, if you didn't do that, you missed out on a good Sylvando skit. Like, my boy Sylvando, man, nah, bro. You gotta do a side quest. You don't play enough RPGs, bro. You're over here playing Mario RPGs solely? Come on, bro. Nah, dude. Dragon Quest, was it 8, Journey of the Cursed King? Yes, dude. That shit has some side quests in it, too, that you have to do fast on time. That's not the game's fault. That's entirely your fault, bro. What are you talking about? You want 100% the game, you gotta do the side quests. What do you... No. That's a L on your part, bro. I can't give you that. I can't give you slack for that. Not after I did it myself. Come on, you're the YouTuber. You're the YouTuber.
Who wants this? So despite my...
I do. I want it. No, that's your fault. You should have done it. Come on, Nathaniel.
Frustration, I decided to just keep going anyway and finish all the side quests that I can still do.
That's your fault.
We're also at the final Great Lighthouse.
That's your fault.
So I'm guessing that we're getting near the end of the game now. Most of this lighthouse is a big enemy going, with most of them being Socket or Blonsky. And that's it, really. It's an incredibly short lighthouse, it wasn't that good of a lighthouse. Going back to shipshape, what's left to tackle here is Fortress Socket. After all this time, it seems like this is the end of our adventure, which is honestly pretty nice because it's starting to feel a little repetitive at this point. The opening cutscene to the fortress is really cool with all this glob shooting up into the air. It reminds me a lot of how Tears of the Kingdom begins. The fortress doesn't have any crazy puzzles or anything, but the enemies are noticeably tougher than usual. At the top floor, we see a scene with Bowser and Socket arguing, and Socket decides to fire the Glomatic Block Ring. The fortress falls into the sea, and all the lighthouses that we just saved are covered in darkness. And then they zap at Bowser out of nowhere, turning him into a glob monster. Holy dude, things just got real quick. And this gives us what I found to be the hardest boss fight in the game. Glob Bowser has some of the same moves as before, but are stronger and quicker, but also has a few new ones that are really hard to avoid. I mean, look at this. Glob Bowser flies now, and he gets so many turns to himself. Like, no joke, you have to avoid like 20 to 30 moves before you can even do one. Oh, and then the Luigi logic, that's nuts too. You take over one of Bowser's mini ships and start shooting them down like you're playing Galaga. Completely switching genres was not on the to-do list.
This is that was a cool one.
More, I managed to defeat Glob Bowser.
I think he might have got me too.
One of my favorite bosses in the entire Mario and Luigi series. We're not quite done yet though, as Sokka uses a blast of Glob to chase Mario and Luigi off the fortress. Sokka interferes with Connie, while Mario and Luigi get lost on the original island that we started the game on. Okay, this is actually pretty neat. And we also get our 5th and final power tap too. After going through this island again, we later discover that this is called Conductor Island, and we also get our last upgraded version. This one is basically a Kamehameha blast from Dragon Ball, and it destroys huge boulders and objects. It is incredibly fun to use. On this island, we finally meet the Conductor, who's basically the god of all of Concordia. He hasn't been able to do much to protect the island since Sokka can harm him if he's found, but that's why he sent Mario and Luigi over to help. After he spends forever praising us, and I mean forever, he then proceeds to have us fight him to test our skills. This seems really off after what he was just telling us. I thought you trusted us, but there are a couple cool parts about this fight. You'll find Mario and Luigi clones doing various animations, and you have to pick the correct one that actually happens. Now, there's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but is it just me, or is the developers adding in scrap animation content to showcase what may have been earlier versions? And really what it seems to be is each animation looks nicely cleaned up. It's also revealed here that Sokka is Connie's mentor. Wow, I didn't see that coming. But once we're done convincing the Conductor for like the 100th time that we're super bonding brothers, ship shape isn't looking so hot, with Fortress Socket putting up this ultra-powerful shield. The only idea to get through it is to contact someone called a Daphne, who can be found in Jellyfish Island. So we go to the island, and there's not really any combat to do. It's mostly just a place to relax and party, especially when you get into the dance hall. It's one of the most varied places in the game, and has a strange, uncanny resemblance to the dance area in Luigi's Mansion 3. Not just for how it looks, but also because
I had no idea what I was looking at for a second. I thought that was the same as that fucking level. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what was this in Jellyfish Island? That zonked me. I was like, whoa, what the hell? I'd never played Luigi's Mansion, so I didn't know this was in Luigi's Mansion at all.
Are at the end of each of their games. Coincidence? We eventually find the Daphne's out in the pool, but is completely oblivious to what's happening around her. So to get her attention, someone jumps in and splashes her, and we start to convince her that we need her expertise. She agrees, but only if Mario and Luigi can make a killer pizza. Not just any pizza, the pizza. It's several of them. This leads to a pretty fun game of making pizzas before time runs out. Once that's done, she agrees to help us, and has a crush on Luigi. But seeing her all googly-eyed over the green ladder is like boring. Now that Daphne is at ship shape to help out, her and Technicky start brainstorming on what to do. Technicky wants to rocket all the islands over the barrier, while Daphne wants to rocket them underneath. Both ideas are psychotic, but I ended up picking over the barrier because I just had to see what that looked like. Now, to actually make the ship do this, we need to get a Bowser part from Way Away Island. So that means more backtracking, but at least we're exploring a different part of the
make some good choices, Nathaniel Bandy.
This area has a lot of conveyor belts and spikes to avoid, requiring some fairly tight platforming. Once that's passed, the engine is just sitting there for us. And look at the ship go. Wow, we really are just gonna fly out of the air, with thousands upon millions of pounds being carried from behind us. And then after that, we unlock fast travel. No, there is no way that we're given actual fast travel at the end of the game. This is not the same as going fast. You can now pick and choose any current you want to go to. Why? Why?
Yep.
Why would you give this to us so late in the game?
Yep.
Look, I don't care if it's because the island didn't have this engine yet. Do you know how much time I wasted just waiting for the ship to go back and forth to islands that I couldn't fast travel to?
Yep.
This genuinely baffles me. They really gave us fast travel at the goddamn end. Even like halfway through would have made more sense.
Yep.
Oh my god. Well, at least we got the last reef this way, going to a current that was previously not accessible. And it's the Princely Reef. Okay, now that is a really fun reference. The rewards from Isabrock were decent, and it was worth finding all the reefs just to see what it looked like. So before going to the final area, I had to complete almost all the side quests. And as usual, I don't have much to say about these, so after spending quite a few hours finishing those, it was finally time to re-enter Fortress Socket. And you start by firing a Kamehameha blast into the door. That's just epic. You climb through the fortress the same way as a lot of the other lighthouses, using all your bros moves and whatnot, with the only major thing being is that the extension core separates you from Luigi for a little bit. So you have to solve a few different puzzles and eventually reunite with it. This is probably one of the best lighthouses puzzle-wise. They're all pretty enjoyable and use your abilities to the fullest. After that, you finally fight the extension core after all this time, and they're really not that hard. They do end up using their own bugs though, which is a really novel idea. They're unique to only themselves, and it adds a lot of flair to the fight. The last bug they used is an invincible one, but they're also forced to explode at the end. God, they're just so goofy. Seriously, the bosses and villains are top-notch in this game. So now that they're out of the way, it was finally time to take on Socket.
I like the extension
And again,
core.
this fight wasn't all that challenging. I've learned what all the best bugs are at this point, and was basically able to just go to town on pretty much anything that came my way. He had some really fun attacks to avoid, and it felt like an extremely well-made penultimate boss before taking on whatever form Clock is. The time has come. The build-up has gone on for so long, and I am so ready to take on the final boss. The plot reveals that Socket is the mentor, which again is not surprising the slightest, but then the 8 hatches and shows us a character called Reclusa. Okay, I cannot believe I'm making this comparison, but this looks like a character from the Amazing Digital Circus. It just has that same early...
Okay, I never watched the Amazing Digital Circus, but I thought that was a fucking Hazin Hotel character. I'm sorry. Like, when I first saw this fucking thing, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? With the fucking eyes and shit? I thought it was a Hazin Hotel character. I never watched the Digital Circus. Is this on Netflix? I don't know what this is on, but I do kind of want to watch it. It looks very interesting. But yeah, no, I thought Reclusa was a Hazin Hotel character, bro. I was so, like, I was gone. I was done. Like, okay, we're done. Like, I signed out at that point. That was when I personally signed out. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. This is what that thing looks like? Okay, no problem. I guess, whatever. Yeah, no, that was crazy to me.
3D/90s/surreal look to it. I freaking love the design of this guy.
Of course you
He's
do.
so intimidating and
Is he?
shockingly expressive for a face that's trapped in a screen. Reclusa puts up a brand new shield around his face.
Reclusa is kind of expressive for sure, but I don't think that his design was that good. For the context of the world being Concordia, sure, but I'm still confused on how Reclusa exists, because they tell you that Reclusa is a multi-dimensional being who goes around infecting worlds with Glom, and then when he goes into rest, he goes into egg mode, where he goes to another world and then, you know, influences the next person to give him Glom, which was Cosette and Socket. I don't understand how this thing looks like a TV plug creature in every dimension, unless he looks different in every dimension he enters. That would make the most sense, but I don't know. That just wasn't explained to me, and I can't be too entirely sure, but we will.
And makes it impossible to get in. But that's not all. Back at Ship-Shape Island, tons of flowers start thrashing out of the ground and sulking on townspeople, turning them into Ready Player One robots.
Yep.
What Reclusa is doing is making people live a virtual reality of whatever makes them the happiest, and they're never allowed to leave. This is, by far, the most f***ed up, satanic, existential, and riveting plot point that I could possibly have conceived a Mario game going. Like, honestly, this is what our real-life future might look like someday. All of us hopelessly addicted to VR headsets, isolated and rotting away until the end of time. And because so much hopelessness has come from this, you'd think that now is the time to fight Reclusa once and for all. Yeah, well, not exactly. The shield around the fortress is too...
I like that as well. I like the dystopian plot twist and shit. I just wish that throughout the game it was more. There were so many different things and bits and pieces and themes in this game that could have been more focused on before this. And I think we'll go into it for sure and shit later, but it's like, dude, I just feel like up to this point nothing was relevant to what was happening in the game and shit, and then this happens and all of a sudden it's relevant. It's like, no, you can't just do that. It has to flow well. It doesn't flow well. It's all of a sudden, and it just didn't matter to me. Obviously, we got through it, and it was crazy when it happened for sure. But I was like, dude, like the bonds and the friendship and the themes of brothership and community and family in this game, it was there for the most part, yes, but like it was so bits and pieces and so spread par between this shit that it just didn't really resonate with me enough for me to be like, oh my god, this is bad now. Like, no, I mean, it was just too, like, it just felt like afterthought to me. It just felt second place afterthought to me.
Strong to get through right now. So what we have to do is collect bonds. Okay, so as usual, I get why we have to do this narrative-wise. All hope is lost. And we have to find people around the islands that still have it and collect their bond energy. Totally, I get it, it makes sense. But like, dude, I just got blue-balled so hard into thinking I was about to fight Reclusa. What the heck? Guess what? I spent another 3 hours looking for people's bonds.
Yep.
This game drives me crazy
Yep.
because I absolutely adore what it's trying to accomplish. So much is great about it, but then at the same time, it is way more padded out than it needs to be.
Yep.
Why do I need to find 6 bonds? Like, why not just 2 or 3? Why any at all? Was the game not long enough already? Like, this is just ridiculous. Despite how obnoxious it is that I have to do this.
My issue with the bonds is that this could have been set up so much earlier, and this could have been the focal point of the game. I don't know why, like I said, the lighthouses and shit and connecting Concordia together, I get it on its own, but like I just don't understand how Concordia on its own was a whole thing with the Unity Tree, and then when they break apart, that's when the like. What landmass do you know has multiple lighthouses all around it? Including 4 big ones. That is where I'm split in half here. I'm like, dude, the world building makes not a lot of sense. It's fine world building, but like, when you really think about it, to me at least, I'm like, wait, what landmass when all connected together has multiple lighthouses? I mean, for starters, I get that. I mean, maybe they're for energy. They're for energy for sure. They're for energy in the connector, I guess. But I'm like, lighthouses? They're not lighthouses. Those are more like Tesla units or Tesla towers, right? Not lighthouses. Lighthouses make me think as like a ship, like ship shape. But ship shape on its own is a boat / island, and all the other islands aren't supposed to be islands. They're supposed to be like countries that are connected to a big continent. That's where I'm like fucking up and shit. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't, but
Revisiting the islands again and seeing the desolation and everything being destroyed is admittedly neat. So many townspeople are trapped in these flowers, just completely lived from reality. It's just sad to look at. It makes you want to fight Reclusa more and more with more bonds in mind. I mean, at least there are new platforming segments, so it's not completely retracing the same ground. So after spending so long getting all the bonds, thinking I was ready to go, every other side quest turned into an expiring one. So that means that Brothership forces you to do every single side quest before the final boss if you want to get 100%. So I spent a long-ass time finishing the rest.
Good luck.
But at least these final ones were the most interesting. Those being the Monster Mania and Boss Fight quests. Monster Mania was like mini challenges with something weird thrown in. Like, one of these requires you to KO a ton of Babos with 1000 HP. Since they're so strong, you have no choice but to counter them and avoid getting hit or you'll die instantly. It was frustrating, but also fun to figure out. And then the refights are all the main previous bosses covered in glum. They were basically the same thing but tougher, which I'm okay with because they're already fun to battle as is. So once all the side quests were done, it was time to focus on the challenges. Now, I've hardly talked about these.
You haven't even
but
done them.
that's because they're also really not that interesting. You do get rewards for clearing them, but not much beyond that. The main thing I still had to do was get Excellence for all Bros attacks 30 times each. This boiled down to me grinding out fights for quite a few hours until eventually getting enough for each medal. And I haven't even brought up the last two bros attacks, which are by far the best. Conductor Connector brings out the conductor, and you shoot these lasers from outer space and charge up tons of energy, and then if everything matches up, this crazy blast comes from the sky and demolishes everything. Then Mix Max Vortex involves Mario and Luigi throwing fire and ice into a swirling tornado to power it up, and then you control the tornado to attack. Dude, I with how ingenious the idea of this attack is, considering tornadoes are naturally created from a mixture of warm and cold air. Whichever developer thought of that attack, you were cooking. While going through the challenges,
I'm just more surprised that you haven't even touched those challenges yet. I mean, dude, your screen looked barren, dude. For someone who says that you led all the bros attacks, you're like not using them. Dude, by the time at this part of the game, I had most of them done. I got a couple of them left. I'm like, dude, bro, you're supposed to be doing those. For the most part, you get good rewards for doing them and just shit. I don't think Nathaniel Bandy's a fucking RPG player. Like, not like me, at least. I don't know.
I also had to unequip all of my gear and accessories. That's because I realized I needed to KO 300 enemies without any gear or accessories. So I started to work my way through that since I've had gear on this whole time. And that's honestly a little frustrating because I didn't know that before, but there's not much I can really do.
You didn't know that before because you weren't paying attention to it. You didn't know that before because you weren't paying attention to it. Now, I didn't do it either because I was just playing through the game. I could easily take off the gear now and just go do it now. Especially since I beat Reclusa and shit. And I have a save block outside of Reclusa. I can warp out of there and do it now. I can do all of them now, actually. It was like, dude, that expired side quest that you didn't do is on you. And not doing any of these is super on you. Because, I mean, maybe that was a clip from early on or something. I don't know. But, like, those shits were not done.
Something else that's also dumb is that I'm certain that there's a specific challenge that's impossible for me to do now. That is the Zocket Buster challenge, where I happen to beat 250 Zoc Troopers. That might sound easy to do since they're all over the lighthouses, but I can't seem to find them anywhere. And that's because I'm too far into the game. Reclusa has turned every enemy into glom, so I can't find a normal Zocket enemy anywhere. It's just a...
I'm pretty sure you can still find them in the lighthouses. I'm almost 100% sure you can find them in the 3rd and 4th Great Lighthouses. That's what I did. I found them in the lighthouses. You just gotta go find them. You just gotta go find them. They're in the Great Lighthouses. I know exactly what he's talking about, but you can still do that one. You're not totally screwed yet. You can still do that one. You just haven't done it yet for some reason.
Dumb challenge request to begin with. A lot of people like myself tend to wait for these kinds of achievements till the end, so it's really annoying getting locked out of it because I waited until the end. The only interesting challenge really worth talking about was the one where I had to deal over 2,000 damage. There's a couple ways to do this, but I found that by using the jump helmet and equipping the Bros Boost plug, I was able to deal the 2,000. Bros Boost increases Bro's attack by 20%, and considering how high leveled I already was with how strong jump helmet was, it worked pretty well. So after spending tons and tons of
I can't believe I did that one totally by accident while fighting Reclusa and using fucking Bomb Derby of all attacks. I was so surprised by that. I was like, wait, did I just do that one? I was so surprised by that. That was crazy.
I'm getting as many challenges as I could, it was finally time. Through the power of the Brothers Bond, we bashed ourselves right through the barrier and got inside. Past this wall, the game continues as usual with a bunch of platforming challenges. The main thing that was different was you had to avoid these falling flowers. If touched, you pass out and have to restart the area again. It was pretty annoying to avoid them while also fighting enemies, but I managed to get through with some practice. There's also a segment where you have to find a bunch of lanterns and put them in a hub to open a door. In each of these rooms you go to, use the mechanics from all the previous islands to put on cargo. Once that was done and the elevator was functional, we ran and found the mentor lying on the ground in pain. So Mario and Luigi moved forward to the next room. What the hell just happened? Hold on. Is this the final boss area? What is this? The ending to Majora's Mask?
That's what I thought too.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, we're in Peach's castle. Okay, this just got weird out of nowhere. What the hell is going on? Peach is right there. The toads are having a good time. Where did Reclusa go? Alright, I guess I'll collect the coins and stuff while I'm here. Maybe he's inside the castle. Is this an episode of Black Mirror? And why does the music have a creepy whirling sound at it? And what's with the shaking block that just falls to the ground when I hit it? Aha! So he does have something to do with this. Why is this like the most bizarre and creepy thing I've seen a Nintendo game ever do? No joke, this entire segment feels like a creepypasta. Everything is just so off-putting and just strange. And now Peach.
It was definitely pretty strange.
Oh, never mind. Now Bowser's joined us. What? I'm so confused. What's going on?
It was definitely a weird scene for sure.
Oh my god! Okay, I honestly did not see that coming.
Yeah, me
Dude,
too.
This is literally the plot of the Amazing Digital Circus. I can't believe I'm actually playing a Mario and Luigi game right now. This has very quickly become one of the greatest endings to a Mario game I've possibly ever seen. Now that we're aware of what's happened, Reclusa starts hiding around in our virtual reality. He can only be seen through Legacy's camera, so we have to watch the camera while also watching where Mario and Luigi are going. Is this the first time Nintendo was experimented with the idea of a second-person camera? Granted, we're not actually controlling Legacy's camera, but we do have to use it to find Reclusa. There's invisible platforms that can only be seen through Legacy as well. Like, for real, this game's ending took an insane turn out of nowhere. After finding Reclusa a bunch of times, he gets fed up with us trying to escape and...
It could have been cooler. And more well done. Like, I'm sad that they waited till the very damn end to do something cool like this at all. Like, they waited till the end to do all their cool concepts. Dude, they could have done all this throughout the entire story. Like, I understand. I don't know, bro. I feel like there's just so many different ways that the story could have been written and shit for the better. And just for some reason, like, it's like they went with the first draft and just rolled with it. They didn't think like, okay, so like, what if we did this differently, or what if we did that differently, or like, what if we moved this part here or this part here? No, they're just like, yeah, first draft, clip it and ship it. And I'm like, I guess, sure, I guess. I mean, if you want the game to be a 5, like, I don't know.
Let's leave this illusionary mushroom kingdom, but not before walking down a room that's completely dark with only the carpet in front of us, and each trying to convince us to stay. I'm honestly convinced the developers were inspired by the anti-piracy stream meme from like 4 years ago. Yeah, remember that? This is exactly what it feels like. So now that we're out of that fever dream of the experience, Reclusa sends out troops of enemies to attack. This doesn't last long though. After a couple of rounds, there's just way too many for us to keep up with. Before we're completely done for, Bowser comes in and starts attacking, trying to help out. It's enough of a distraction to survive, although he apparently only does it to get revenge on Sokka and not to actually help us. Amir Cove on his end, we just won't tell him that. And now, the boss is finally here. Standing in front of the Solid Tree, the fight begins with us surfing on a plug while throwing fire and ice balls to reach Reclusa. Once you get near him, you throw more fire and ice balls until he's stunned, and then you use a Kamehameha blast. What a start to the first phase. For what I'd consider to be a really overbloated game, the ending is sure making up for it. And once this phase ends, Reclusa backs into the tree and literally controls it. Reclusa releases a gas that makes Mario and Luigi pass out. But it's okay because Connie still has that bonding water and bonds it back to life. And from there, we start fighting this massive tree while attacking the roots. After doing that and knocking back these enormous spikes, you use Luigi logic and quite literally surf up to the top of the tree. This is just a Kirby final boss now. You can't convince me otherwise. After avoiding tons of obstacles and charging up a final Kamehameha, you go inside the tree itself and fight the core. Might I say again, this is a Kirby boss! This is amazing! Oh my god! The core is a huge spike ball with tons of deadly attacks, but after a barrage of hits, we fight Reclusa again with all of his defense gone. And after even more hits and more counters, Reclusa collapses and we have won. Wow, now that is how you end a video game. Reclusa realizes he lost because he fought on his own. And the reason we won is, well, it's kind of an overused quote at this point, but it's all about the friends made along the way. Ha ha ha. But yeah, that's literally why we won. And that right there is Mario and Luigi Brothership. While the game is way longer than it needs to be, and it's very slow paced at times,
I can agree with that.
still enjoyed it overall. It could have been so much better if it was like 15 hours shorter, but with how great
I can agree with that.
I honestly didn't mind the payoff to get here. Well, now that
the
game is done, I might actually agree with some of what he says. Let's actually read the review instead of just looking at a number to get an idea of what he's saying.
Yes.
Apart from its action-packed, turn-based battles, it fails
I haven't even read the review yet either, so we're reading this review together, blind. So here we go.
in almost every way to read what he's saying. Apart from its action-packed, turn-based battles, it fails in almost every way to recapture the magic of the best Mario and Luigi games, while also clinging to their bad habits like ridiculously chatty dialogue, overbearing hand-holding, and boring runtime padding fetch quests. I gotta be...
What did he say? The recapture the magic of the best Mario and Luigi games while also clinging to their bad habits. That's all I was talking about. Where's the charm? Where's the pizzazz? Where's the magic? These games used to be so full of emotion, so full of humor and whimsy, and this game had none of it, bro.
Overbearing hand-holding and boring runtime padding fetch quests. I gotta be honest, I do kind of agree with a lot of this. I think it might be a little bit over-exaggerated. Like, I personally think after reading this, I don't do number reviews. I don't really do reviews for the channel. But if I did have to give a number, I still feel like a 5 is too low. I would probably still give the game like a 7. But again,
I can agree with that too.
Numbered scores.
I could agree with a 7 because, like I said, for me, it's the art, the gameplay, and the music. The story usually loses the point, and the level design is where it kind of comes back and shit. The level design in this game was great. I remember I used to do old reviews back when I was playing Earthbound and Pokemon Sapphire. I had like 5 categories. It was definitely art, music, gameplay, probably difficulty, and story, shit like that. It was like 5 categories, and like, man, if I had to do the same way I normally do, which I don't really do number reviews either, but like I scale it based on numbers and shit. I don't do stars, I do numbers and shit. I agree with a 7. I don't think a 5. I think a 5 is a little low, but a 7 is also fair. But a 5 is deserved. A 5 is a deservable rank, but a 7 is a fair one as well. Because like I said, I like to look at it all as a whole. But what that IGN reviewer said within the first paragraph is true. This game has none of the magic, none of the whimsy, none of the humor of the first 3, which I'm gonna keep on glazing until the end of time. Okay, that's the main issue with this. And I said I was signing out of the Mario and Luigi Brothership franchise, dude, or the Mario and Luigi franchise after this. I was like, I'm not playing another one of these games. Because Nintendo proved to me that they don't have the magic still. They don't have the magic still.
It did have very, very chatty dialogue. I wouldn't say overbearing hand-holding. I do think it got a little obnoxious at the beginning, but that's just the beginning. And then as for runtime padding, fetch quests, that I 100% agree with. There was a lot of padding in this game, absolutely. Now this I don't really understand. Couple that with shockingly bad performance issues that distract nearly every turn. Well, I did see some performance issues, mostly at the end of the game, once the multi-blob stuff started to come into play. I would say overall, like, the general combat was fine. Like, there were only a couple things, like Zaperator as an example had really weird, like, lag. But for the most part,
I must be the only person in the world that doesn't notice this type of shit. People are always talking about FPS and frames and shit. I don't notice that shit at all. And at least for me, the game was working fine. I didn't notice any of that kind of shit, bro. I don't know how people like people must look at the game and their eyes would go Super Saiyan looking at frame by frame and shit instead of just like watching the game. Like, I don't know, but I didn't know it was that type of shit, so that wasn't an issue for me.
I don't think the performance issue really impacted the game. At least it didn't really.
No,
Never
it
felt
didn't.
Any sense of discovery remotely approaching that of Zelda: The Wind Waker, or even the small open ocean segment of Super Mario or Gandhi King. Yeah, this is interesting because like that ocean map really is. It's trying. I think it's kind of trying to be like Wind Waker, or I guess Origami King to an extent. But yeah, you don't really feel like you're actually discovering everything. But I think that's just because you're literally not controlling like this ship in a first-person point of view. You're just controlling the map. So I don't know if it necessarily would be possible to feel like you're discovering something just controlling a ship on a map.
If the game was more open-ended, you would feel that. If the game was more open-ended, you would feel that way. The main issue is this game is very linear. There's no way that this game could have different paths and be like, oh, I went to this island first. Really? Oh, I went to this island first. Really? With that bosses? Yeah, I beat that boss early and got this reward sooner. No, there's none of that in this game. Hey, we didn't even talk about the converging paths thing. It has nothing to do with this game. Like, the split decisions and shit has nothing to do with this game. Like, Nathaniel touched on it a little bit, but not a lot of it. And that's my main issue with this game. Like, the game, like, not every RPG needs to be open worldly feeling and shit, but I'm like, damn, like, this could have been the one where it's like, oh, I make the decisions for myself, and none of my decisions mattered in this game. Or it was discovering a new island or doing, choosing a different path choice in life or whatever, dude. Like, it just didn't make any sense for me. It was lame for that.
But I also completely get what he's saying. I think that makes sense, honestly.
I do too.
I lost count of how many times new characters were shocked to learn Mario and Luigi were on a mission to reconnect all of Concordia's islands. Yes, this happened like every single time you go to a new island. They're like, how did you get here? How are you doing this? But while that dialogue is kind of annoying, in the context of the story, like, it makes sense. Mario and Luigi's for the Mushroom Kingdom, so they're just trying to get a grasp of like what's actually happening. But yes, I do agree that did honestly get annoying. It's actually kind of crazy. I have not been highlighting everything or like talking about everything that he's saying in the review, but like honestly, I don't agree with a lot of it. The Mario RPGs always have
Nathaniel is not harping on this game as hard as I would, dude. I mean, first of all, my Let's Play, I'm just shitting on it this entire time, bro. And like the little flowers I gave it flowers and shit. I gave it the flowers it deserves and shit. But fucking I don't know, man. Alright, I'm gonna read this next paragraph by myself and without Nathaniel's input. Mario RPGs all attempt to strike a humorous and whimsical tone to varying degrees of success, but Brothership's comedy mostly lies in repetitive bits and intentionally unfunny puns and dad jokes, where the punchline is matching Mario and Luigi stare blankly in awkward silence. I hated that about it. Like, I like Chilliam and his dad and shit, and I like Grumpy Turnip, but a lot of the jokes in this game sucked. And, yeah. Snoutless' primary joke is telling everyone he meets that he's definitely not a pig, while the main villain's bit is not remembering anyone's name, which is another unfunny joke that's been beaten to the ground well before Brothership stops returning to it. Again, the game lasts for dozens of hours, and those jokes never evolve or get any better. Dude. That's a big one. That's the big one for me. The fact that the jokes just overall suck. I mean, like, dude, all my clips from this game were for me raging and roasting it and shit. And none of them was like, oh, me laughing my ass off at a funny bit or a funny joke. All my bits from this game were me raging at it. Not because the joke was funny or because something funny happened, because like, dude, this is pissing me off. That's bad. Like, I mean, like, I don't even think Game Grumps can make this game funny. Like, I don't even think the Game Grumps can make this game funny. Like, they would for sure, but they would be doing all the work. The game would be giving them no material. That's the thing. The game gives them no material to make this game, to make it funny. And I was trying too, for the most part. I stopped after a while. Like, dude, like, the characters all suck. I hate it right here. Except for the ones I like, everybody sucks. But I don't know, man.
To strike a humorous and whimsical tone to varying degrees of success, but Brothership's comedy mostly lies in repetitive bits and intentionally unfunny puns and dad jokes, where the punchline is watching Mario and Luigi stare blankly in awkward silence. Now, this is a very, very subjective thing. A lot of people love writing like this, or they just want to have like ironically bad puns in the games. You know, we've seen this kind of writing a couple of different times in Mario and Luigi titles. I don't think this game had the strongest writing either, but also it wasn't really for me. Like, you know, I don't mind puns, I don't mind dad jokes. I think that's fine, but when the same kind of joke is used throughout the entire game, it does get really, really old. Like the whole Grampy turnip thing, like that was just annoying. I feel like it served no purpose half the time. He was just talking.
Chill on Grampy Turnip. That's the one character I have to give a pass to, because at least he made sense to be telling unfunny old people jokes. The rest of the cast, no. I talked to every Grampy Turnip that was in the game, and I spoke the dialogue out loud, and I fucking I talked to the Grampy Turnips. I liked Grampy Turnip. But it's everybody else's dialogue that just, why are you doing the same jokes as Grampy Turnip? Chilliam and his dad are fine. Grampy Turnip was fine. And, like, the extension core is fine. Now that they're on screen. You know, I'm talking about my dude. But none of the other jokes were that good. But Grampy Turnip was fine. But a lot of the jokes were bad. In mid and not funny. The IGN reviewer was right about that entirely. And yes, comedy is subjective and shit, and you can try different types of comedy, but they tried only one type of comedy. It was always felt flat and it was never funny. And to top it all off, it was just like a letdown compared to the first three. I'm sorry, I'm always gonna be glazing the first three, but it was just a letdown, man. It really was. In terms of humor, bro, like, nigga, I'm sorry. I came to this game with open arms, being like, this is gonna be the funniest fucking game. A Mario and Luigi game that's pretty about their bond and brothership, dude. They had the sky, bro, as their limit, bro. After Bowser's Inside Story, nah, dude, I'm sorry, dude. Like, they dropped the ball on this one in terms of story and comedy. That's why it gets a 5. That's why it gets a 5, because the IGN review was like, bro, these games used to be magical, bro. Magical, bro. Superstar Saga, magical. Partners in Time, magical. Bowser's Inside Story, dude, peak charm, peak charisma, peak everything. This game has none of it. None of it.
Granted, it's nice to see original characters back in the Mario and Luigi game after Paper Jam codified everything. These designs are just a bit too rudimentary for my taste, and their glossy look clashes with their style of Mario and Luigi and other characters that we Mushroom Kingdom that show up. Okay, this I do actually disagree with. I actually really like the character design.
I do too.
I like they did.
There's some of them I like and some of them I don't like. I like all these Texas Core members on screen right now. I like a lot, and I'm gonna do like a TikTok video where I rate all my favorite characters in the game. I'm gonna rate all the characters, but I'm gonna like rate my favorite ones obviously the most and shit better. But like, I like the character designs of this game. It was weird at first, but I like the concept of it. So I like the character designs. They're all fine. I disagree with that too, and I agree with Nathaniel Bandy on this one too. So yep, there's that.
They did kind of have like a theme. The theme was wall outlets,
yep.
And it's still really, really weird.
Yep.
The fact that like all the original characters, their faces are based on wall outlets. But honestly, I think it kind of works like pretty well.
Yeah,
all the
it does.
islands you visit are very generic too, with familiar fire, ice, and desert settings you've seen dozens of times before. Yes, I would say a lot of the islands are not really all that interesting, but some of them are kind of cool. Like I really like Lot of Coins and Desolate Island, just as an example. Offend Island,
Off and on.
The Bowser one. The Bowser one was also pretty neat too. We're a series that once had microscopic.
I can only agree with this so much. I have the game still open right here. I can look at the viewed islands. Gameplay. Look. Right, alright. Ship shape, fine. Rumble was perfect. Twisty was kind of lame, especially as we went back like 3 times. Floral was okay, but that should have been the first island mad early on. Rainforest was okay, but that could be taken out the game. Marigold was amazing. All Sand was alright. It was the desert island, just like we all know. Desolate was fine, I guess. Lot of Coins was good. Slip and Glide was good. Heat Freeze was good. And Scorching was good. I think it's kind of weird that we have just Fire, Ice, and Fire and Ice Island. I mean, I understand, but it's still a little weird. Like, those feel like the most filler islands, but they're good islands as a whole. Bullfish was filler. You could take out Bullfish. Great Conductor was okay. Off and On was okay, I guess. And Jellyfish was good in terms of the design. But I mean, I can count one. I can count 3 islands you can take out: Twisty, Rainforest, and Bullfish. You can take out all 3 of those for sure. And then Heat Freeze, Scorching, and Slip and Glide. Like, you can repurpose those and shit. So if you took out 6 islands, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 islands, and that's 9 worlds. If you put 9 worlds together with each of a boss fight and shit, that's a Mario and Luigi game. Superstar Saga, Bowser's Story, and Part of Time, you don't need 20 fucking islands. You can just have 9. Have them decently sized, great design, and then a fucking boss. 9 levels, 9 bosses, perfect. You don't need to go crazy. Instead, we have like I said, Twisty and Rainforest, which are useless. Desolate Island's like, okay, that's where the idol lives and shit, but like, did that really need to be an island? They could have lived on a lot of Coins Island. Or on fucking Marigo. You know? Anyways, Bullfish is a waste. And like I said, Heat Freeze, Slip and Glide, and Scorching, like, they just feel like they're kind of not afterthoughts or filler, but they just didn't really need to be like, oh, a Fire Island, Ice Island, then a Fire and Ice Island. Like, really? I don't know, but what the IGN reviewer said is true about, you know, the game being fucking like, they're generic islands, bro.
Versions of Mario and Luigi roaming around Bowser's internal organs. Brothership's areas feel disappointingly set Coins and Desolate Island. Just as an example, Offend Island, the Bowser one. The Bowser one was also pretty neat too. We're a series that once had microscopic versions of Mario and Luigi roaming around Bowser's internal organs. Brothership's areas feel disappointingly safe. Microscopic Offend Island, the Bowser one. The Bowser one was also pretty neat too. We're a series that once had microscopic versions of Mario and Luigi roaming around Bowser's internal organs. Brothership's areas feel disappointingly safe and hardly worth exploring. Okay, this I probably don't agree with either. I do get what he's saying. Like, a lot of the islands is just generic fire, grass, ice, desert. Sure, I guess that is true, but I do think as you get farther into the game, the islands themselves do get a little more interesting. I do think they could have pushed to make the islands themselves a bit more unique, but I think for what it is, and considering how small the islands are, I don't really consider it that big of a deal, honestly. But I get where it's coming from.
I can understand both sides of that argument. They could have done, honestly, like, I don't know, bro. Like, the fact that they're power core people, you would think most of the islands would be related to some type of technology and shit. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand power plug people living in an ice island, a lava island, and a desert island. You feel me? Like, I'm not saying they all have the technology related islands, but like, I mean, this. Dude, don't make me write a fucking fanfic. I'm gonna do it, bro. This is bad.
Luigi
Continue.
feels more like an NPC ally than where he's coming from. In Brothership's overworld, though, Luigi feels more like an NPC ally than a second protagonist. He calls Mario a disconnected, awkward distance. He can jump on his own without the press of a button, and many puzzles revolve around simply ordering Luigi to automatically do something for you. So this is something that I noticed is very very different for this game, because he's definitely right about that. You can't fully control Luigi. You can't like switch to playing as him as you could with the other games. I feel like this is kind of a good and a bad thing. Like, obviously, there are times where it's really annoying when you're just trying to like throw like an object from Mario and Luigi, and then sometimes it just like doesn't work because Luigi's not in the right spot. Sometimes Luigi will die for no reason. So I would say in that case it can make the game worse, but for the most part, I think it's fine. Like, I think him playing mostly as an NPC works well. Like, I didn't really find many issues with it. It is different though. It is very, very different from the older games. So the rest of the reviews basically just talk.
Look, my issue with Luigi in this game is that I agree. He feels like a NPC than a second protagonist. That's my issue with this game. For a game called Brothership and their bond, that's my core issue with this game. I feel like Luigi, he held his own and did his own things, obviously, but at the same time, I just feel like he was an afterthought and just like, yeah, Luigi, we need you to be a key item now and do this and then solve this issue. Instead of being like, Luigi, like, how are you going to figure out how to make things better for everybody on your own? Not just like, oh, let me think really hard, brain blast, Luigi logic, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, yeah, sure, Luigi, I guess. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. That's my issue with this too, and I agree with the IGN reviewer. Like, Nathaniel, he's kind of half and half on this one, but I'm like, dude, I don't know. I agree with fucking the reviewer on this one, bro. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This one could have been like, because I mean, compared to other Mario and Luigi games, like, yeah, like Luigi was like the second controllable character, and you can switch between them and shit. But at the same time, I was like, dude, like that mattered and shit. In this game, yeah, like you're telling Luigi what to do to automatically do stuff, and I can understand that in a puzzle solving aspect. But like I said, it just doesn't feel like Luigi's actually, you know, actually Mario's brother. He just feels like, you know, item to be used by Mario, you know.
About the combat and pretty much everything that I agree with as well. The combat is very, very solid. Any issues that he had with the battle plugs, again, like I pretty much align with those as well. Having to recharge battle plugs is kind of annoying, but at the same time, like it does add a sense of challenge. Basically, just deciding like when you should actually use the battle plugs. So, I would honestly.
My thing with battle plugs is that I wish that they built a thing that you can recharge all your battle plugs at once. I don't know why it had to be turns in battle. Like, why wasn't there a station that ship shape like that Nikki built or something? Or fucking Amphibious dumbass fucking built something to be like, all right, yeah, hey guys, I made this charge station so you can just hit it and then fucking all your battle plugs have been recharged, ready for the next battle or the next level. Like, why is that not a thing? They could have done that and they just didn't. That's one thing I wish they did. That was a missed opportunity for sure. Because, like, I mean, now I gotta go outside of battle to recharge all my battle plugs, or I gotta go into battle actually to recharge my battle plugs instead of just having them, you know, charge over time or recharge fully on their own. So that was a very big missed opportunity that makes me wanting to grind this game even worse. Because I gotta use auto excellent on like Meta Bros moves I haven't already completed and shit, like Bond Derby. I can't do that excellent by myself, so that has to be a fucking auto excellent. That takes forever to recharge. You feel me? This is not good. Granted, I have power plugs and gear that can make your plug recharge faster for sure, which is nice, but still, why not have something that just recharges all of them at once? It adds a little bit of extra bonus per challenge to you need to decide which ones you want to use. And I was doing that for sure. I was min-maxing which battle plugs to use mid-battle, especially when you're fighting reclusive and shit. So I get that for sure, but I don't know.
Say a lot of what he actually wrote in the review, not even paying attention to the number, I honestly do kind of agree with it. It sums up the game pretty well, but giving it a score of a 5, I feel like is very, very low. I mean, I'd probably give the game like a 7. I really had to give it like a very, very solid.
I can be between a 5 or a 7. You know, a 5 is low, but I'm sorry, as someone who is a fan of these games, that's deserved. Nintendo missed the ball on this one, and I said so on TikTok, and everybody agreed with me, so that's how you know I'm right. You know, a 7, I can't give this game a 7. Like, I can, but it's not deserving of it. This game deserves more of a 6 or 6.5. But no. All in all, and it's the story that really drags it down. Because like I said, what do I always say? The gameplay is great, the battle systems is great, the music is great, the art is great. It's the fucking story. It's that fucking story that sucks and it drags it down. So that's the real issue here, man. That's the real issue here.
Out of 10 Mario Luigi game, definitely not my favorite, but yeah, I mean it's a good game, but like it definitely has its padding issues. It is very, very slow. You're gonna find a lot of what I said in the video to be very similar to what's in the review. That's all I'm saying. All right, anyway, I'm gonna get going. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with more videos.
All right, Nathaniel, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I like this guy. I like his channel a lot. He's the GOAT. I used to watch him a long time ago, and for some reason, I either fell off or forgot or something. But I saw he posted this. I was like, oh, I'm watching this as soon as this comes out. Ant Dude did this one. I know Ant Dude. I just don't watch him a whole lot. I like Peanut Butter Gamer and shit like that, you know. I'm about to read these comments in a second, but I want to see who else talked about this game. A 5-hour video about this game? Okay, that's a bit much. I don't think I'm gonna react to a 5-hour video about it. Alright, I'm about to read these comments from the top. Like I said, the game could have been a lot better. They directly mentioned the events of Bowser Jr.'s journey in this game. That's insane. That is the last thing I would have expected them to mention. I mean, it's the most recent game that they put out. They might have said, well, cool. With that in mind, the way Bowser Jr. acts kind of feels like a regression to me. How's the way he acted a regression? Bowser Jr. had a lot of character development in Bowser's journey, making him a lot more humble and less arrogant. While in this game, he's the same as he was in pre-Bowser journey. Well said. Where did it go that? I beat the game, but must have missed that part. That's really cool. They did it. Side quest, a dear friend. Yeah. I think the problem here is that IGN gives almost everything at least a 7 or 5, so essentially horrifically bad. They gave Concord a higher score. This is gonna be a fucking toxic bomb as soon as they open this. Horrifically bad. Chill out, buddy. If you know you don't like their scoring, ignore them. Yeah, this is the point. Some of the 5 out of 10 is not that bad, guys. You're just overreacting, hating poor outlets for no reason, not understand. IGN rating is not just consistent, thus 5 feels worse as it is because they rate the biggest slot better as 5 out of 10. It's not. You prove their point. This is their exact reasoning as to why they never give anything less than a 7. Because people like you go, OMG is less than 7. That means it's awful. They realize they put themselves in the position and are simply trying to get out of it by using more realistic scorings because this game really is not that bad. 5 out of 10 in a row still good. It's average. It's very average. This is not true, and you know it. As said, they keep rating bad games with 7 or 10 despite seeing the flaws. So the few times where they rate using the whole 10 numbers feels bad. I agree. To be fair, Concord was uninspired and bland in terms of gameplay and art design, but by all accounts it was pretty technically solid. That's not true, but go off. I remember them doing Mario Odyssey review that was filled with just trash in the game. Then they gave it a 10 out of 10, and suddenly gave Pokemon Sword and Shield a 9.3 out of 10, despite most of the review pointing out its flaws and bugs. A 5 out of 10 on our score isn't good. It's a 50% that barely passes the school. Like that. A pass under 60% is failing grade. Okay, you're just repeating what you just said. Was the guy who reviewed Concord the same guy who reviewed Brothership? Because that compares with ability for me. Depends on where you're from. You're not read the post I see. I explain it again in easy words. Of course, a 5 out of 10 would be not bad if you always use the whole scale. But if an outlet barely ever rates worse than 7 out of 10 or 5 out of 10, it looks like the worst trash. So IGN is at fault here because they sometimes use this whole scale. Like, well, they sometimes don't. They trash the game in the review and end up placing it above Brotherhood, despite having much more positive to say about Brotherhood, and that's why it doesn't sound like a fair rating. Take the Concord example. They rated the game above Mario Luigi 7 out of 10, despite the game literally being 2 out of 10 max. So how do you think it would sound if people in IGN seriously rates Concord better than this game? That is fine, but has some flaws. Okay. Always remember, personal enjoyment is more important. If you enjoy the game despite others like IGN not liking it, it's perfectly fine. I do think Brothership is really fun in places. The Lonely Goomba, this guy has the pretty good takes for the most part. The IGN review is interesting because I do agree with a lot of it, but I wouldn't give the game a 5 anyways. But I could totally see why I got a 5. I'll give it a 7 so far. There are moments which feel like a 5, moments feel like a 9, so it's sort of in the middle. So if I was to pinpoint the key problem with the game, it's the pacing. Ed, he said the same thing. That just sounds like a score inflation TB. 5 is perfectly in the middle, not great, not bad, exactly what you were describing. 7 is a fair score? I don't think it is. Well, 7 on the modern review scale, because no one actually uses a 5 as average. If people actually reviewed games as 5 actually meant average, yes, 5 is fair, but IGN's review scale 7 is good, and I wouldn't say the game is just good. Pacing is an issue with the games. RPG, please RPGs. Considering how often IGN likes to give games a 7, I'm surprised the game didn't get a 7 itself. Dream Team has the exact same issue, and yet a lot of people still view it as their favorite. I didn't play Dream Team, so I can't say anything. And I'm gonna be real cheap. If a side quest is tied to events in the main story, then it makes perfect sense why that side quest would be locked if you progress far enough into the main story for those events to change. RPGs do this for immersion, like the world and the characters reacting to order you do things. And having side quests being available for the whole game despite no longer lining up with the main story would break that immersion. Thank you. It's a Mario game. Okay, so what? It's still an RPG game too. If you don't like if you don't like it, it's perfectly fine. But objectively fitting for a game like this. It's also a fucking RPG. Mario being in it doesn't give anyone an excuse to dismiss story-related things. It also tells you and it also tells you it's going to expire soon. Most RPGs, if you miss it, it's just too bad. Lol. Exactly. Plus, by the end, every quest gives you the soon to expire warning because the game is about to end. Yeah, you can. I mean, where I am in the game right now, I'm either talking to Connie and about to say goodbye or fighting Zocket. So I would imagine that none of the side quests I didn't do are going to be available after I beat Zocket or about to leave. Like, you know? Or, not Zocket, fucking, what's his name? Reclusa. There's bigger problems with this. The fact that the game tells you all the side quests is on a list, and most RPGs, a miserable side quest is like the fun secret that rewards you for exploring or randomly backtracking to talk to NPCs you like, because they're all showing you to outright change them from fun secrets to do lists with time limits. In Final Fantasy game, for instance, you're not supposed to complete every side quest. There are tons of them sprinkled all over the world to add interest and surprise, like little treats to find. Remember that one Final Fantasy 9 side quest that wasn't publicly known for 13 years because of how hidden it is? Adding secrets like that makes every NPC interaction interesting. Okay. Stop being a damn contrarian is that kind of actor that gave a sticker star again. Okay, yeah. I agree with the side quest thing. You missed out on the side quest, that's your fault. You can definitely tell the studio that made Brothership is used to making traditional JRPGs. The pace of mechanical progression, the side quests, the choices, especially the certain amount of damage output towards the end of the game, it all screams JRPG. Is it? I mean, it's probably not Alpha Dream, obviously, for sure. But at the same time, it's like, dude, Alpha Dream did better. Never found the pacing to be as bad as anyone makes it out to be. As someone who loved how long Dream Team was, I was impressed with this being the longest Mario RPG in the series now. I never played Dream Team, so I can't say. I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to watch this yet due to spoilers, but I just want to point out something. In past year, we've gotten Mario RPG remake, the Thousand Year remake, and a new Mario and Luigi game. The fact that we got all three in the years set is insane. This really Mario RPG comeback. I liked sailing this game. You said 7, yeah, you got sick of waiting, so you did side quests. I thought that's what you're supposed to do. Trying to get as many side quests done as possible for the rush to the can to make your stop as fun in the playthrough. It made it for a good gameplay loop. The game brings up doing side quests while waiting for the ship to get where you need to do. That's what I did. It sucks if you do a side quest if you're going to take the ship there. That happened to me and I was stuck waiting for a few minutes. Okay. That's literally what you're meant to do. That's the sole reason why the ship is so slow, to give you ample time to do side quests. Hell, not too long into the game, it isn't even slow anymore. I don't understand that criticism at all. As soon as you do Floral Island, you get speed. The game mechanic makes no sense. 1 out of 10 gameplay. Well, man, the reply section, really, seriously. I don't think I can fairly criticize the game because I was the one guy that loved all other games, including Paper Jam. I really hope that another Mario Luigi is released. When I saw IGN's review, I was a bit worried that it would incline Nintendo not to make a new one. I'm sold out of the franchise, so I don't care anymore. Brandy, I say I have dismissed the game after the slow start, but your video intrigued me so much I decided to give it a shot. And now a week later, 36 playthrough hour later, I beat it and I loved it so much. Thank you. Okay, I'm glad you liked it. Well, actually reading the review and playing the game and not just looking at the score, that's what I did. The best part of this game is that there's a Yoshi attack. There's Yoshi attacks in other games. There was a Yoshi attack in partners in time, I'm pretty sure. As someone who has been playing RPGs for several years, you learn real quick that when you get a new side quest, to do them immediately or as soon as you can. You actually get some low appropriate gear for them, along with plenty of stat beans and strong healing items. That's not fun. Side quests are presented as optional, but the player is punished for not taking part in filler. Side quests aren't filler. It's literally part of the content. It's part of the main content. Side quests is not filler. That makes zero sense. Side quests generally feel like no budget was put into it. I understand that, but like it's not padding or filler. It's a side quest. It's meant to be done. That's why they put it in the game. It's not like kill 100 monsters and get nothing for it. No, that's filler. A side quest is literally supposed to do it. Or just ignore side quests as the equipment you get will soon be obsolete and just drags the game out. Most of them don't even give you any gear or unique rewards. Just the mushrooms are nuts to pad your inventory. I mean, that's also valid. Nuts, free nuts. Hello. There's a difference between being rewarded for doing a side quest and being punished for not doing it. If you don't do the side quest, you don't get the reward for doing the side quest. Would you rather side quests just had no reward at all? Is that what it would take for them to be properly optional? Thank you. That makes no sense. In what way does the non-mandatory mission punish you for missing it? The thing of being more than 20 hours is way too crazy for a time investment of a game. Also, the thing of being 12 full days to complete every Kirby Mario game, constantly week-long challenges. Asking for a 25-hour RPG is kind of crazy, bro. These are the same people who couldn't beat the Cuphead tutorial, and I was wrong. It was the guy named Dean Takahashi who does work for IGN. My bad for this information. Only Nintendo can make a character out of electrical outlet. Totally Fox has entered the chat. I think people say the story drags that time, but at the same time, you're not in the Mushroom Kingdom anymore. Of course, the game wants you to just explore. The battle system is new. I like how the bros work together and make a strong jumper hammer. I like it too. Wait, what? There are limited time side quests? Yeah, you really didn't read the info about the side quests when they were introduced, huh? He's a YouTuber, he can't read. It's still annoying that you can potentially miss out on some big rewards and better gear from this quest. Not all limited ones do give out gear, but it's annoying, especially since some of these times aren't that interesting. Sure, not all of them are interesting, but a lot of them are fucking good rewards. Most of them are just story-related side quests. If you don't care about it, just don't do them. And if you want more story to do them, what kind of criticism is this? Thank you. I don't understand your comment. Also, I'd argue that limited side quests aren't even story-related. Once you have Zaki talking with the extension core, and then you have another one where you're just hearing in the conversation, there's nothing important. It's like, yeah, you can ignore them and not do them, but why you have them? What side quests even is, I don't remember. The Rin score is a bit iffy, but the Rin's criticism was right. I feel like people get way too worked up over what some IGN reviewer thinks about some random ass Mario game. Either that or I should get off Twitter and do something productive. Who the fuck cares? Anyways, people need to go outside. Why is everybody so divisive in the comments? The problem with the review is that it felt like it was nothing but criticism. The reviewer goes out of the way to praise the battle system and the boss design for a good chunk of the later half of the review, though. They have a lot of issues with the game, so they're obviously going to talk about... Yeah, they talked about some really actual stuff, like how the game is missing the charm. So I'm going on for P5 down to I'm not... Yes, literally. There's a few more characters than Nathan Mrs. Predator as male. Make it, Issa Rock, Cosette, and Technicky. Yeah, seriously. Zaki was using male pronouns, but that's more like a Sheik. It's just like a Sheik Zelda situation. Zelda's a girl, but Sheik is the boy. Thank you. I was looking for this comment. I mean, it's not hard to see eyelashes on them and say woman. Yeah, but he calls Cosette a he before he even got to Zaki. Yeah, he did that too. Haven't finished the game yet, but nonetheless, I love it. Doesn't mean it has zero flaws. My biggest complaint are the enemy placements in some areas. Cough, cough, Merry-Go Island. Merry-Go Island is not that big of an issue. Just saying, since it doesn't seem like you notice, but most rules of text in this game come from older games. Red Shell, Green Shell work almost identical as they did in Dream Team, as you point out. You Who Can's from Bowser's Story, Jump Helmets from Bowser's Story, Boundaries from Dream Team. So the Great Conductor in Rush's version was the Z Keeper to me. This game can at least say it has more depth than Paper Jam. Let's see what the replies are. It's got more depth than paper. It has more depth than Partners in Time. No, it doesn't. What? It does not have more depth than Partners in Time. Bowser's Inside Story. What are you talking about? The Peppa Pig game has more depth than Paper Jam. I don't understand how anyone could rate this game below Paper Jam. It's better in pretty much every way. Paper Jam at least has better music and bosses. I'm sure depth is what Paper Jam is lacking gameplay wise at least. Who the hell agrees with this being better than the first 3? Music, but that's also because Yoko was involved in this game. Bosses, hell no. Brothership has the best bosses in the series. What bosses? I'd rather only have 12 great bosses than 30 mid ones. What bosses? As someone who 100% the game, your point here just confuses me. If you assume there was post-game content after being the final boss, I can kind of get why you'd be mad at this, but since being the final boss is the literal last thing you do in this game, there's no reason to worry about these quests expiring and no reason to make a big deal out of it. Also, you were going to complete every quest anyways, so I don't know why you'd complain about it taking a long time. Disappointed that we can't really use the ice fire flower combat. Honestly, I feel like the last minute add-on, because you get them and how to let you do. The way the internet reacts to IGN and mainstream game reviews in general is weird to me. If Shadow Generations gets a 9, it's let's go, the game's good. Brothership gets 5, it's who cares about what IGN thinks anyways. Bandy, regarding the Zaka Trooper challenge, you're not locked out of it because after Reclusive Awakens, you just need to go backtrack to Ghost Rock Sea, Great Lighthouse, or the Colorful Sea Lighthouse and fight the Gloam Zaka Troopers. These enemy counters both Gloam Zaka and Zaka Troopers, yeah. And similar to Gloam Bowser means counters both challenges. My strategy for avoiding side quest frustration is to do them as soon as they come out. Bro dropped his 3DS on accident. He did for a bit. The worst part of this game is that Yoko Shimomura wasn't involved. Who's Yoko? I don't like the OST. Honestly, the OST can be annoying at some points, but there are definitely some tracks that are good. Yeah, I mean, is he a music designer, I guess? Absolutely, I noticed right away that the music wasn't hitting as hard as her music does. Hopefully she comes back for the next game. I'm not playing the next game, so I don't even fucking care. If the next game isn't a 100 out of 10, I'm not fucking playing it. In the last dungeon, if you go far left to the seesaw section, you'll find a cult of great returns, which is kind of disturbing me. I think people's overall opinion of this game often relies heavily on whether they do side quests or not. This game feels like it was designed around side quests. Gets informed that there are expiring side quests. They're roasting with the side quest thing. Oh my god. Gets informed that there are expiring side quests, proceeds not to do them as he gets them, complaining that they're about to expire and he has to backtrack a lot instead of just having to explore the world to fulfill them. Does not do anything to try to fulfill them. Complains that he can't get the horse after not trying it. You're stupid. I agree. Oh great, this is basically Rotten Tomatoes getting the Super Mario Bros. Movie, the 59% all over again. Seriously, there's a serious disconnection between what reviewers want and what the fans want. I swear, if Mufasa gets better reviews than Sonic 3, I'm not trusting reviewers ever again. Some of these pun names are a lot better in German, in my opinion. It's Gloam, like the electrical unit, because of the electricity. Yeah, he's calling Gloom or some other shit. Not insanely important, but I find it funny how many times you got the gender characters wrong. Make it and Technicky, yeah. I still only played through the game myself. The reviewer did some of the honest points, but still, giving the game a 5 out of 10 is off. I would give the game a 7.8 out of 10. These are the people saying 7.8, too much water, too many pacing problems, Sonic has a sword. Is this a meme? It must be a meme. So the best way to describe this game is always do everything in every single moment. Never avoid a task and always look for more before moving on to the next for at least 15 minutes. Yep, that's what I did. Alright, well, it looks like for the most part, everybody agrees with me. I give this game a solid 9 point... What? Okay, I'm not listening to anyone who gives this game more than a fucking 7. This game was great. My genuine complete the fact that Luigi's block actions don't use the B button anymore. I agree with that. Honestly, not the review for me. It's the fact that IGN reposted this very same review 7 times on their Twitter account. Anything I hate to say it, but you did not do everything. There were a ton of things you missed, and that was why the side quest expired, because you were focused on running through the story. Every side quest tells you where to go, and the goal, so you aren't confused. That's true. I don't know what your problem is with expiring side quests. They add to the world building. Oh, well, a character that has been killed, kidnapped, or made in another way relevant to the story, but unavailable. I bet I can still return to their home and do their training quests with them. Do you realize how that sounds? Get a grip, man. Also, you call 3 girls dudes in this. Jesus Christ. They're hawking on side quests and genders. And take away from the world as well, because now you have to revisit every place. At least the brush that the game tells you. My guy really called the bros bomb on Kamehameha when really just a Jesus Big Bang attack. Damn it, you have been calling the main NPC characters dudes. A lot of them are females. Yes, they are. Bo casually self-spoiling the semi-final parts of the game without even knowing the moment he mentioned bonds. Answer the question, absolutely not. I'm 6 hours in, I'm loving the game so far. Luigi's actually be selected with the baby on his criminal, 0 out of 10. That's a major point off for me. That's a major point for me. That's a major takeaway point. Straight up. Honestly, IGN reviews is not far off from how I feel. It should be rated higher, but I would say a 7 for me. It was different in some ways, but it almost feels the same as I felt. The lack of unique puzzle solving, some instances of repeating dialogue and dull jokes that got old fast, and how they use Luigi as an NPC instead of an actual player character. The game did do boss battles good, and some of the islands were good, like Fire and Ice at the same time, a tropical dance hall. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous IGN would rate Brothership 5 out of 10 since, from what I played, the game is awesome. I think a lot of people have rose-colored glasses on. I don't know. The biggest problem with IGN I have is sometimes the people they hire for reviews don't even seem like they actually play the game they review. My biggest issue is why everything in the gear store is so expensive. Like, goddamn, even Mario and Luigi is safe from inflation. Glom, literally. Also, 35 looks like more like Hellfire Peaks. Alright, yep. After you beat the penultimate boss fight and the real villain shows himself and raises the stakes incredibly high, the game decides to put your entire momentum on a halt and pivot into a let's backtrack everywhere and collect the MacGuffins moment and completely kills the vibe. I agree with that. I don't like that either in most games. It was like the Amazing Digital Circus, Doki Doki Literature Club, Anti-Piracy Screen memes, and Super Mario 64 personalized memes mashed into one. Wow, also, any Demon Slayer fans remember the scenes of Mugen Train? Can't spell ignorant without IGN. True. Man, Mario fans are just fixated on a single review on a thing. Technically, Koza and Issa Rock are all females. That's true. I was like, after getting locked out of that one side quest, I was like, well, there goes my 100%. That's on you guys. Jesus fucking Christ, why is everyone throwing such fists over the IGN review? I've been hearing it but non-stop in regards to Brothership. Well, it sounds like everybody has mixed opinions about this game. Greatest thing about this review is saying that the tutorials are too hand-holding. Like, bro, have you ever played any of these games? I feel the critics that gave this game... Okay. Alright, yep. They're basically saying everything I say. I like to read the ones that have a lot of comments and likes. Literally what everyone says about this game is the pace is slow as they ever played an RPG in their lives. Final Fantasy VII has pacing issues all over the place, but it doesn't stop it being considered the best game ever made. Most Mario RPGs, well, basically none of them besides Dream Team has ever had pacing issues though. A slow start isn't necessarily the issue. What makes Brothership problematic is that it's almost perfect storm of pacing problems. The way the story is told, the silly mechanics, the tedious side quests, the lack of enemy variety, and how slow it gives the player new abilities all merged together into an absolute slog of an opening. It takes forever for the first boss to show up, and prior to that, you don't even have bros moves. It took me 6 hours to get the battle plugs. It's kind of wild. The pacing is a problem in both narrative and gameplay sense, in my opinion. Also, I don't think most RPGs have pacing issues, but even so, a epic 100-hour RPG isn't really compared to a Mario RPG, which are usually short and snappy. This guy has great takes. I like the Lonely Goomba. I don't know if he's a YouTuber or anything, but every time I see him on a video, he makes good points. You later said that there's only 8 directions. There's clearly 16. Get it right. Whatever. I'll agree. Brothership does have glaring flaws, particularly much of the pacing in some sections of gameplay. I would just say it's overall quite good. IGN makes it sound like some valid points. The game's much better than 5 overall. I can understand. I like how Idle Group just offers the links and 4 swords. No, it's not a 5. I've been really enjoying Brothership. Alright. Yep. Looks like everybody kind of agrees with this game. I don't think I'm going to watch anyone else's review of this game. I saw Ant Dude said something about it, but I don't know Ant Dude like that really, so I just won't really talk about him like that. But hey, that's how it goes, okay? Look, if you ask my opinion on this game, I think it is a 6.5 instead of a 7. It's not a 5. I understand why I got a 5, honestly, because I mean the reviewer said everything correctly. Like in terms of the missing charm and whimsy, the bland island design, and the terrible jokes. Like he cooked and shit. Like you can say what you want about the numbers and shit, but everything he said was right. Everything he said was right. So I don't know what else to really say about it, man. I think the game is like a 6.5 out of 10. It's not a 5. It's not a 7. It's not more than a 7. It's not better than the Superstar Saga, Dream, Partners in Time, or fucking Bowser's Story. So you can put it back in the shelf with fucking Paper Jam and Dream Team. Okay, because those 3 remain on top. Okay. But yeah, 6.5 is fair. Because like I said, for me, the gameplay is fine. The art style is fine. The music is fine. And the level design of the maps are fine. It's that story that drags it down. And these games are known for their stories. Okay? That's what my issue is with this game. So that's my issue. I might do that video about it where I break down every map and every level and talk about which gets taken out, what gets added in, and shit like that. Make a real big fan fiction video about it. This video is 2 hours long, so we're gonna stop it now and shit. But we'll see if I do that tomorrow. Tomorrow, if I stream, I'm playing Valkyria Heart Hero School. This is going to be the last session I play of this game. Then I'm going to stop. I'm going to do a session of this game. Because I do want to keep playing this game. This is a long grind, so I'll play that more. Fox and Force is coming back in December. I want to start playing Animal Crossing again, because they just added match to Animal Crossing that I need to get into. Thousand Year Door, not playing until like next year. And then everything else is everything else. So I'll figure out what the next main game for the channel is going to be after I upload these Mario Luigi Brothership videos, this reaction video just now, and then this like fanfic video I'm about to write and do. We're gonna do that as well. So we're gonna do all that. I don't know when, but it'll be soon. Okay. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, especially for that Nathaniel Bandy video. I'll leave a link in the description down below so it's easier to find and shit. This is my first type of reaction video. I don't normally do this type of thing. So if you guys like this type of thing, then let me know. And I'll do another one of whatever game I play in the future, okay? So with that being said, you guys take it easy. I'm going to bed because it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, you guys take it easy. I love you. Drink plenty of water. And I'll see you guys next time, okay? Goodbye.